Who says I am not a baby? Too clearly, the heavenly demon bloodline had not yet awakened in these Jiang family disciples, which was why the demonic bears had attacked them. Jiang Yu did not think much about it. He narrowed his eyes as he and the other powerful figures looked at the thick fog. They soon discovered what was odd about the thick fog. Jiang Yu said to Yi Qingtang, "Throw this corpse into the thick fog, and let's see what happens." Yi Qingtang tossed the body of the dead Jiang family disciple in. Sure enough, the moment the body entered the thick fog sank into the body, which then exploded. The group of children behind Yi Qingtang broke into a cold sweat at this gory sight. They had doubted the truth of Yi Qingtang's words, but now, they had no more doubts. They wanted to cry. How could they escape through this thick fog? Jiang Yu nodded slightly at this scene. Then, he said, "You go and try it out. Just walk near it, don't enter." Yi Qingtang seemed to realize something when she heard Jiang Ye's words. So she tentatively walked near the thick fog. The thick fog did not seem to sense her and made no attempt to attack her. So that's it. Jiang Yu immediately understood. The thick fog was slowly formed from the power of the deity's curse. The residual power of the deity will attack anyone who enters, but, you drank the holy water just now. The holy water also contains the deity's power, so the fog can sense the power of the holy water and won't attack. When Yi Qingtang saw everyone furiously drinking the holy water just now, she thought it might be beneficial, so she also drank a mouthful. However, she did not sense any change. She did not expect her momentary curiosity to become the key to passing through the thick fog. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they heard Jiang Ye's words. Otherwise, they could never leave this place with that thing in the way. What are we waiting for? Let's go. Emperor Yan could not wait to leave this accursed place. The sooner he escaped, the sooner he could cultivate. He did not want to stay in his diminutive state, and neither did he want to remain in this hellish place one moment longer. If you want to die, go ahead. Jiang Yu glared at Emperor Yan. If Yi Qingtang had not been supporting Jiang Yu, Emperor Yan would have fought Jiang Yu there and then. Jiang Yu looked at Yi Qingtang and questioned her about the other things in the thick fog. Yi Qingtang told him about the black strings that could flay a person. Just as Yi Qingtang was talking about this, a body near the thick fog suddenly started to move. Everyone looked and saw numerous black strings rise out of the thick fog. They wrapped themselves around the body and sank into the skin. As everyone looked on, they performed a gory show, flaying the skin before their eyes. Now, Emperor Yan and the others were really on the verge of collapsing. They had finally managed to find a way to avoid the thick fog's attack, but the black strings still blocked the exit. No wonder this had become a forbidden land. Just the thick fog and the flaying black strings alone would kill large groups of people, not to speak of the demonic bears and other demonic creatures that lay in wait within. A look of amusement secretly flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes when she saw everyone's expressions. She had been waiting for this moment. But when I entered, the black strings did not attack me. I wonder if it has something to do with bloodlines, Yi Qingtang said with pretended casualness. She glanced at the group from the corner of her eye. Chapter 1534 Who says I am not a baby? 3 The moment they heard Yi Qingtang's words, everyone immediately focused on her. Their previous unhappiness over being fleeced was now replaced with a trace of hope. Yi Qingtang secretly smirked when she saw this. Although she did not know why these black strings did not attack her, they were sufficient to block the powerful figures and force them to rely on her help. The extortion, which had previously cast a shadow in their hearts, was now replaced by a feeling of good fortune. Old Jiang, since your descendant can safely walk through the area covered with black strings, why not ask her to bring us out? The moment Yu Qiong heard this, he immediately went over to Jiang Yu and started to toady up to him. Of course I can bring all of you out. All of you have been the companions of my ancestor, the domain monarch, for many years. I certainly will not abandon you, but these black strings cover the entire ground. If you follow behind me, I'm afraid you will also be attacked. The only way is for me to bring you out without your feet touching the ground. Now, Yi Qingtang assumed the attitude of a sensible junior. The cunning look she had worn while extorting them had disappeared. Although Jiang Yu was not willing to be involved with these people, he felt happy to hear Yi Qingtang's respectful words. He swept a smug look at the others. Do you see that? All of you are benefiting from my good fortune. No one was in any mood to quibble with Jiang Yu. When they heard Yi Qingtang's words, one said, without our feet touching the ground? But I don't think we can fly here. How are we to? The person did not finish his sentence. He suddenly looked down at his child's body, then at the little white tiger Yi Qingtang was carrying her arms. His eyes brightened. Why don't you carry us out? This, Yi Qingtang pretended to look dismayed. All of you are my elders. Wouldn't that be rather inappropriate? Extortion was extortion. Before leaving, she must soothe everyone. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. This crowd of previously arrogant powerful figures now dismissed her protests without any reservation. The most important thing was to survive. If they had to be carried out by a junior, then so be it. Anyway, there was no one else here besides them. It did not matter as long as no one else saw them. Yi Qingtang still looked dismayed, which caused everyone to panic. They all raised their little heads and tried to persuade her. They even asked Jiang Yu to speak for them. Bah, you bunch of shameless old men. Our Tang Tang is still a young girl. Do you smelly, shameless men really want her to carry you out? If others get to hear of it, her reputation will be ruined. Jiang Yu had observed the subtle shift in Yi Qingtang's attitude and vaguely guessed at her inhibitions. So now, he put on a stern face and pretended to be angry. What shameless old men! I am now just a 3 or 4-year-old child. How could that ruin her reputation? Emperor Yan, who had always considered himself to be the best, now shamelessly puffed out his small chest to show he was just a child. That's right, that's right. I'm even younger. I'm only 2. I can't even walk properly. It doesn't matter if you carry me. Another powerful figure tried his best to widen his large, glistening eyes to show how innocent and adorable he was. In such a fatal situation, one must be able to humble oneself. Their lives were certainly more important than their principles. In order to preserve their lives, they were now a bunch of babies. Yi Qingtang looked wordlessly at this bunch of spry and elderly powerful figures. Each was shamelessly pretending to be babyish. Her gut almost burst with suppressed laughter, but she continued to pretend to look embarrassed. She looked at Jiang Yu, as if waiting for him to speak. Chapter 1535 Who says I am not a baby? For Jiang Yu was used to their shameless behavior, but he still looked disapproving. Old Jiang, I have several bottles of superior elixirs here. Tang Tang will have to work hard carrying us, so these will be useful to improve her health. Fu Su was very astute and swiftly took out a few bottles of elixirs. He did not care whether Jiang Yu agreed, he simply stood on tiptoe and stuffed them into Yi Qingtang's hand. The others immediately brought out many elixirs from their space rings. They did not wait for Jiang Yu or Yi Qingtang's consent and simply stuffed the elixirs into their hands. Even if they had been somewhat displeased to be fleeced twice in rapid succession by Yi Qingtang and Jiang Yu, they were now practically begging to be fleeced and showed no signs of reluctance. Sometimes, people were like that. They feel unhappy if they get fleeced, but if they themselves forced an unwilling party to accept something, they would feel like they got a good bargain. Yi Qingtang fully understood this, so she used this method to bleed them. Yi Qingtang was inwardly delighted when she looked at the pile of elixirs in her hand, but she continued to maintain a look of terror. How can I? Jiang Yu saw that it was about time, so he said with pretended reluctance, all right, it will probably be difficult for them to leave this place otherwise. You'll just have to work a little harder and bring them out one at a time. The two of them worked seamlessly and pretended to be extremely hesitant. The rest of the powerful figures had nothing to say. Only then did Yi Qingtang put the elixirs away. Although she continued to look reluctant, she was inwardly extremely happy. One must know that the elixirs given by these powerful figures were superior elixirs from the second domain. None of equal quality could be found, even within central mainland. She had gotten a bargain but still pretended to be coy. Yi Qingtang had certainly profited handsomely today. After a round of discussion, everyone finally acted. The demonic bears would not attack someone with the heavenly demon bloodline, so Jiang Yu remained there to hold the fort while Yi Qingtang carried the powerful figures out through the thick fog. The powerful figures were all terrified that Yi Qingtang would not be willing to carry them because there was a 10,000-year-old man within their bodies. They all tried to widen their eyes as much as possible and made an effort to present themselves as innocent and adorable young children. All the powerful figures were physically small, so Yi Qingtang had no problem carrying 2 of them at a time. She temporarily left the little white tiger with Jiang Yu. As she stepped into the thick fog, she carried in each arm a powerful figure previously revered and feared but now petite and adorable. The pairs of powerful figures were very cooperative. Along the way, they tried their best to act like small children despite their terror. They almost wanted to bite their fingers and act like fools. Yi Qingtang had walked through the thick fog once, so she was now familiar with the way. The crawling sound from the black strings could be heard all around. When the powerful cultivators heard it, they broke out in goosebumps. 10,000 years ago, they would not need to act so cautiously, any one of them could have broken through this barrier. When Emperor Yan was carried out, his little face turned dark red. He did not even dare to look up at Yi Qingtang. Embarrassing, this is just too embarrassing. A junior was carrying him out of here as if he was an infant. If news of this got out, he would be too embarrassed to face anyone. Ahem, don't worry. Once I get back to the second domain, I won't forget your hard work. Emperor Yan suddenly spoke. Oh, are you from the second domain? Yi Qingtang looked puzzled, as if completely unaware of Emperor Yan's identity. Emperor Yan was delighted to hear this. Well, sort of, haha, thank goodness she doesn't recognize me. Chapter 1536. Clinging on one. Of course, Yi Qingtang knew what Emperor Yan was thinking, but she feigned ignorance. After all, he was a revered and powerful man. Now, he was reduced to a child being carried by a junior. Of course it would scar him. After several trips, Yi Qingtang had carried most of the powerful figures out. After leaving the Forbidden Land, the numerous Dharma treasures returned to normal. When the powerful figures saw this, they did not wish to stay in this hellish place a moment longer. They took out their Dharma treasures that enabled them to fly, and flew off into the void without a backward glance. They might be a group of small children, but they had as many Dharma treasures as there were stars in the sky. They did not wish too many people to see them in this state, so they hurriedly flew away from this hellish place. Their first priority was to find a place to cultivate. Yi Qingtang watched the group of powerful figures leave before returning to the forbidden place. Only Jiang Yu and Yu Qiong were left in the forbidden place. Yi Qingtang reached out and picked them up while the little white tiger crouched on her shoulder. At the final moment, Yi Qingtang glanced at the 3 charmingly naive demonic bears. Amusement flashed across her eyes as she nodded to them in farewell. The 3 demonic bear were oblivious but would not leave the forbidden place. When they saw Yi Qingtang leave, they shook their heads and went their own way. Yi Qingtang took one last look at the forbidden place, and then brought Yu Qiong and Jiang Yu out. Jiang Yu and Yu Qiong were filled with emotion when they returned to their past world. Jiang Yu could clearly sense his previous powers slowly recovering. Although the speed of recovery was very slow, it filled him with joy. It was good that he could recover his powers. It would be no easy task to recultivate 10,000 years' worth of abilities. Jiang Yu knew that he could not remain in the land of infinite demons for much longer in his current state. Therefore, he asked Yi Qingtang to bring him away from this place and back to the Jiang family as soon as possible. So Yi Qingtang carried her domain monarch ancestor, who stood only knee-high, and prepared to fly into the void. But Yu Qiong, who had yet to move, pounced on Yi Qingtang and latched onto her leg. Yi Qingtang looked at the person who had been the ancient Yu clan's most powerful elder 10,000 years ago. Let go. Jiang Yu frowned slightly. He disliked the crafty Yu Qiong. No. Yu Qiong's little face looked stubborn. Old Jiang, I cannot bear to leave you on account of our many years of friendship. Why don't I follow you to the Jiang family and stay there for a while? Get lost. Jiang Yu, who was in Yi Qingtang's arms, impatiently stamped his small foot on Yu Qiong's little face. But Yu Qiong did not budge. He simply clung on even more tightly. Go back to your ancient Yu clan. Jiang Yu said as he stamped on Yu Qiong's face. Stop being so shameless. The elder of the ancient Yu clan actually wanted to follow me back to the Jiang family? No. I really cannot bear to leave you. If you don't get lost, I'll punch you. I'm going back with you even if you punch me to death. As the previous great elder of the ancient Yu clan, no one understood better than Yu Qiong how the ancient Yu clan venerated powerful figures. When Yu Qiong was at the height of his power within the clan, even the family clan had to defer to him. The other elders were even more intimidated by him. Everyone had been intimidated by Yu Qiong's powers and so had treated him with great deference. But now, Yu Qiong was just a 2- or 3-year-old child. He had yet to recover his powers. If he went back to the ancient Yu clan at this point, his old enemies would seize the opportunity to kill him. Thus, Yu Qiong definitely did not dare to return to the ancient Yu clan at this point in time. He was worthless to the ancient Yu clan. If he returned, they would simply get rid of him. Chapter 1537 Clinging on to the ancient Yu clan was the most savage one among the dominant forces. By contrast, the Jiang family was rather kind and respected their ancestors greatly. Yu Qiong was filled with envy when he saw how respectfully Yi Qingtang treated Jiang Yu. Although Yu Qiong did not speak this out loud, Yi Qingtang understood his worries very well. But Yi Qingtang had her own plans. The ancient Yu clan's powers had increased greatly after they had seized little Yu Yun. They were acting more and more arrogantly, and would soon clash with the Jiang family. She herself longed to seize little Yu Yun from the ancient Yu clan. Now, Yi Qingtang had two of the dominant forces, the Temple of Shadows and the Jiang family, within her grasp. However, her position was not yet stable. These two forces were her bargaining chips in dealing with the ancient Yu clan. Yu Qiong used to be the most famous great elder within the ancient Yu clan. He was familiar with everything connected to the ancient Yu clan. If Yu Qiong could help her bring down the ancient Yu clan, that would count as a few more bargaining chips. Ever since Yi Qingtang had come to central mainland, she had been plotting to obtain enough power to deal with the ancient Yu clan, be it from the Temple of Shadows or the Jiang family. Jiang Yu had also guessed Yu Qiong's inhibitions but intended to ignore him. But Yi Qingtang whispered to Jiang Yu, telling him about the ancient Yu clan's current situation. When Jiang Yu heard that the ancient Yu clan had grown very powerful and that it was eyeing the Jiang family, he also started to think. But he did not trust Yu Qiong. Great-grandfather, you and elder Yu have been friends for so many years. If he returns to the ancient Yu clan in this state, he will certainly die. Why not bring him back to the Jiang family? Yi Qingtang unexpectedly spoke up for Yu Qiong, which delighted him. But Jiang Yu frowned deeply. He did not know why this junior wanted to help Yu Qiong. Wasn't she afraid that Yu Qiong would betray them after recovering his abilities? But Yi Qingtang was not afraid that Yu Qiong would betray them. The ancient Yu clan of today was different from what it was in the past. Also, once Yu Qiong entered the Jiang family, the news of this would reach the ancient Yu clan sooner or later. An elder who had lost his powers and had some kind of connection with the domain monarch? With the ancient Yu clan's suspicious nature, the clan certainly would not take him back. In fact, to ensure that Yu Qiong did not reveal too many of their secrets, they might think of some way to dispose of him. Yu Qiong was just trying to protect himself. However, he did not understand that if he went to the Jiang family, he would be severing his ties with the ancient Yu clan. Yi Qingtang could not allow such a good opportunity to slip away. Although she knew this, she could not say it out loud now. She must trap Yu Qiong first. Jiang Yu was moved by Yi Qingtang's persuasive words and reluctantly agreed in the end. Yu Qiong looked delighted when he saw that Jiang Yu had agreed. He climbed up Yi Qingtang and crawled into the crook of her arm, looking extremely lazy. Scoundrel! Jiang Yu grunted coldly. Yu Qiong simply smiled and allowed Jiang Yu to scold him. Yi Qingtang brought the two reduced little fellows and the little white tiger, and she flew straight into the void. Within moments, they had vanished from the vicinity of the Forbidden Land. Just as Yi Qingtang was prepared to speedily leave the land of infinite demons for the Jiang family, her sharp eyes noticed a tumultuous battle scene from her vantage point in the void. She did not want to become involved. After all, the battles in the land of infinite demons were never-ending. Life and death were all fated. But Yi Qingtang was startled to see a familiar figure among them. In the midst of the intense battle was a detached-looking Jiang Qi. He was soaked in blood, and two elders of the ancient Yu clan were approaching. Chapter 1538. Clinging on 3. Yu Qiong, who had been clinging onto Yi Qingtang, glanced downwards, and his expression immediately darkened. He was just about to go to the Jiang family, but now, there was a fight between the ancient Yu clan and the Jiang family. What was going on? Jiang Yu had never met Jiang Qi, but he frowned when he saw that this youth was unusually powerful and wore the Jiang family robes. Jiang Qi's abilities were considered outstanding within his generation. But he was now dealing with two elders from the ancient Yu clan. Also, the ancient Yu clan's powers had grown greatly after obtaining the spiritual abode. He was being forced into a hopeless situation. Even so, his handsome face showed no signs of panic. He only frowned slightly and looked solemn. When Yi Qingtang, who was in the void, saw that Jiang Qi was trapped, her expression changed. If it had been anyone else from the Jiang family, she would have left. But in her previous life, Jiang Qi had given her a chance, and Yi Qingtang had remembered the favor. However, the two elders from the ancient Yu clan were truly powerful. If Yi Qingtang opposed them directly, she would certainly be no match for them. At that point, Yi Qingtang suddenly remembered there were a few teleportation talismans among the treasures she had obtained from the old people. As she studied the situation, a plan suddenly formed in her mind. Below the void, Jiang Qi looked grim. Although he was unusually talented, he was still young. He could not possibly compare to these two elders from the ancient Yu clan. Jiang Qi, hand the soul-sucking jade over, and we'll give you an easy death. An elder from the ancient Yu clan laughed coldly. They had been hunting for treasure in the big demon's palace when the Jiang family chanced upon the soul-sucking jade, which had been lost for a long time. The soul-sucking jade was an extremely valuable Dharma treasure. When the Jiang family found it, they hid it without a word. Then, they made the most powerful youth, Jiang Qi, leave first, secretly carrying this item. But the ancient Yu clan had detected the aura from the soul-sucking jade. The two elders had tailed him, chased after him, and prepared to seize the soul-sucking jade. Dream on. Jiang Qi looked coldly at the two ancient clan elders. These two were not outstanding among the dozens of elders in the ancient Yu clan. In the past, Jiang Qi might have been able to escape if he fought hard. But with the help of the spiritual abode, the powers of these elders had grown rapidly. Either one of them could capture Jiang Qi, not to mention that there were two of them. You have a death wish. Since you want to die, we will fulfill your wish. An ancient clan elder laughed coldly. He stepped forward, preparing to kill Jiang Qi. A cold light flashed across Jiang Qi's eyes. He knew that danger was imminent and that there was no way he could avoid it. But just as the ancient clan elder was about to strike, a streak of fire suddenly fell from the sky together with a billow of thick smoke. The wave of heat blocked the ancient clan elder's vision. Amidst the smoke, Jiang Qi felt a small hand catch hold of his wrist. "Let's go." The soft and delicate voice startled Jiang Qi. But before Jiang Qi could recover his wits, his body flickered. By the time he regained his footing, the scene before him had changed. He was in a completely different place. Only then did Jiang Qi turn to look at the little hand that had pulled him along. He was shocked by what he saw. The hand holding his wrist was really small. It looked like the hand of a 2-year-old child. "Don't worry, they probably won't be able to catch up for a while." Chapter 1539 Distorting the Truth. One in Jiang Qi's shock, that female voice rang again. Jiang Qi looked up and saw a rather familiar-looking girl standing beside him. However, there were 2 toddlers that were about 3 years old in her arms, and one of them was grabbing his wrist. The child made eye contact with him and retracted his hand with a giggle. "You are," with a slight frown, Jiang Qi's gaze swept across that girl's clothes. He realized she was also a member of the Jiang family. Yi Qingtang revealed her identity, but Jiang Qi was still slightly dazed. Jiang Qi was not to be blamed for having no impression of Yi Qingtang. As someone from the elder cabinet, any same-aged people who were not from the elder cabinet could not enter his eyes, and he all the more did not pay any attention to others on this journey. However, Jiang Qi never thought that he would be rescued by Yi Qingtang, whom he had never seen before. "Thank you," Jiang Qi said blandly. No matter what, Yi Qingtang saved his life today. It was just that, he glanced at the 2 toddlers in her arms with a strange look. Even though Jiang Qi was a proud boy, he could not help but find it odd. Where did she find these 2 kids from? It was inconvenient for Yi Qingtang to explain. Thus, she changed the topic to ask about Jiang Qi's situation, and only then did she realize that those 2 ancient clan elders were after the soul-sucking jade. Fortunately, nothing bad happened. As Yi Qingtang was carrying Jiang Yu and Yu Qiong and could not stay there for long, while Jiang Qi was injured, they immediately decided to return to the Jiang residence first. Due to the young toddlers and injuries in the group, their journey had to be delayed. Several days had already passed when they were out of the land of infinite demons. At the same time, an oppressive air loomed in the Jiang residence. Seated at the top position, the domain monarch tightly locked his brows together as he looked at Jiang Shangyu and the rest with a serious expression. The Jiang family suffered a considerable loss in this expedition to the land of infinite demons. Half of the total number of people that Jiang Shangyu brought lost their lives there. Luckily, they still gained plenty of good items in the Great Demon's Palace this time. Yet, even so, the outcome was still beyond the domain monarch's expectations. The domain monarch's expression darkened at this moment. In the hall, the injured Jiang Sun was ghastly pale as she glared at Jiang Qin and the others, who were perfectly fine. "You said that they wanted to kill Tang Tang." The domain monarch looked at Jiang Sun and asked. Jiang Sun nodded. If she was not injured right now, she would definitely give Jiang Sun a tight slap. She had just returned, and in consideration of Jiang Lang's rashness and Moe's poor health, she did not tell them about Yi Qingtang's disappearance. She only told the domain monarch about everything. Facing Jiang Sun's accusation, Jiang Sun, however, sneered and responded. "You're so funny, Aunt. We want to kill Yi Qingtang." She was clearly the playful one. Fifth great-uncle had already stated that the land of infinite demons was a dangerous place, but Yi Qingtang refused to be disciplined and completely ignored fifth great-uncle's orders. Not only did she act on her own, she even wanted to barge into the forbidden land and cause Jiang Qiu and the rest to follow her in as they were worried about her safety. I haven't blamed Yi Qingtang for acting on her own and implicating many other Jiang family members, but you're even accusing me now. Jiang Qin did watch those people from the Jiang family chase Yi Qingtang into the forbidden area. Although she was shocked and waited outside for a while, she was still worried that it would implicate her and thus quickly gathered with Jiang Shun and the rest. When Jiang Sun learned that Yi Qingtang entered the forbidden area, she hurried over to check. Jiang Shun and the rest also went along. After waiting for half a day, not a single Jiang family member came out. It was then that they returned. Chapter 1540 Distorting the Truth 2. Tang Tang is young and has never entered the land of infinite demons. How would she dare to enter the forbidden area on her own? If you all did not push her to a corner and leave her with no other routes left, why would she enter a place that means absolute death? Jiang Sun turned pale from anger at Jiang Qin's ability to distort the truth. Yi Qingtang has been wandering outside since young with no one to discipline her and acts lawlessly. She just returned to the Jiang family yet stirred up so much trouble. Father may not believe my words, but the fifth great-uncle's words are believable. Afterward, Jiang Qin looked straight at Jiang Shangyu and spoke. Please do me justice, fifth great-uncle. Jiang Shangyu looked up at the domain monarch and said, the truth is as Qin said. Yi Qingtang is extremely mischievous and simply refused to be disciplined. So be it if she threw her life away, but she implicated numerous people from the Jiang family. This girl is insane and insolent, and this is also caused by the poor teachings of Jiang Lang and his wife. Jiang Sun's chest constricted in pain from the fury. Jiang Shangyu was the one who wanted Yi Qingtang to go to the land of infinite demons back then. Now that an accident happened, all the blame was pushed to Yi Qingtang and her parents. It was unknown whether Yi Qingtang was alive now, but they still wanted to drag Jiang Lang and his wife down. The domain monarch had an ugly expression. The Jiang family's loss from this expedition to the land of infinite demons was far from imagined, and it was still regrettable even though they brought back many Dharma treasures. Elder Zu's expression did not look too well either. The cabinet elder seated beside the domain monarch frowned slightly. The cabinet elder did have some plans for Yi Qingtang, who possessed the mutated heavenly demon bloodline. He originally wanted to see if there was still a possibility to train her using this land of infinite demons expedition, yet unexpectedly, she entered the forbidden area. The forbidden area was extremely perilous, and naturally, no one would believe that Yi Qingtang could still make it out alive. The cabinet elder could not help but sigh at that thought. Ultimately, the first 10+ years of her life were wasted outside, and she missed the best time to train. It was truly Jiang family's loss to lose such a mutated heavenly demon bloodline. He originally thought that if Yi Qingtang safely returned from the land of infinite demons and performed well, she could attempt the elder cabinet trial. If she passed, perhaps she could be accepted into the elder cabinet and be trained there. Yet ultimately, it did not go as planned. Where is Jiang Qi? Although the cabinet elder had regrets, he was more or less prepared. Compared to Yi Qingtang who grew up outside, he was more concerned about Jiang Qi, who trained in the elder cabinet since young. Jiang Qi did not return together with them as well this time. Jiang Qi left with the soul-sucking jade ahead of us. I believe he will return in no time, Jiang Shun said. The cabinet elder nodded slightly. Meanwhile, Jiang Sun looked like she wanted to kill Jiang Qin. Yet, Jiang Qin had a fearless expression. Although there was an accident, Yi Qingtang was already dead, and no one would be able to disturb Yuer now. Currently, Jiang Shun, Jiang Shangyu, and the others testified the same thing, and even if Jiang Sun could speak very well, she had insufficient evidence and could not do anything about them. Just as Jiang Qin was gloating secretly, Jiang Lang and his wife came to the main hall after hearing from somewhere that the group that went to the land of infinite demons had returned. However, after they searched everywhere, Yi Qingtang was nowhere to be seen. On top of that, they even heard Jiang Qin's slandering of Yi Qingtang from the servants. Jiang Lang rushed to the hall immediately. Jiang Qin, I knew that you were up to no good. Jiang Lang stood in an aggressive manner, wishing he could hack Jiang Qin with one shot. Jiang Lang, do not make a scene, said the domain monarch in a deep voice as he furrowed his brows slightly. Chapter 1541 Distorting the Truth 3 Father, Yi Qingtang's ignorance and arrogance are due to the poor discipline of Jiang Lang and his wife. Now that she implicated others in the clan and caused the death of Jiang family members, Jiang Lang and Moe cannot escape the blame. Jiang Qin immediately accused Jiang Lang and Moe when she noticed them. Jiang Sun hurried forward and stopped the rash Jiang Lang. Lang, don't cause trouble in front of your father. They did not have any evidence right now, and they would only be in the wrong if Jiang Lang really used force. Jiang Lang, you're really getting more insolent. How dare you use force in front of the domain monarch? Jiang Shun shouted coldly. I will not tolerate you all slandering my daughter like this. Jiang Lang reproached. Slander? You should be glad that Yi Qingtang died in the land of infinite demons. Otherwise, given her personality, God knows how much trouble she can cause to the Jiang family. It'd be such a disaster if such a troublesome person continues staying in the Jiang family. Jiang Qin snickered. The domain monarch frowned slightly and was about to scold Jiang Qin for speaking irresponsibly. But a voice rang. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed then. Since time immemorial, it's known that a bad person never dies, and this is not said without a reason. Everyone in the hall was stunned the moment that voice was heard. Yi Yu, who had been snickering secretly, was alarmed when she heard the familiar voice. She instinctively looked in the direction of the voice along with the rest. All she saw was a blood-stained figure walking toward the courtyard slowly. Yi Qingtang's clothes were tainted red by blood. As she walked in slowly, her dark hair danced in the cool breeze as a seeming smile played on her lips. Tang Tang, Moe widened her eyes in delight when she saw her returning daughter. As Moe sprinted towards Yi Qingtang, her eyes glistened with tears while she looked at her daughter she just regained. Everyone in the hall was evidently astonished. After hearing what Jiang Qin and the rest said earlier on, Yi Qingtang entered the forbidden area of the land of infinite demons, thus, they concluded that Yi Qingtang definitely died. However, never had they thought that Yi Qingtang, who entered the forbidden area, could actually make it back alive. At this very moment, the expressions on Jiang Qin's and Yi Yu's faces were the most interesting of the bunch. With slightly widened eyes, they looked at Yi Qingtang as though they were looking at a ghost. How can it be? Jiang Qin's eyes were filled with surprise. She clearly saw Yi Qingtang entering the forbidden area from afar. How did she make it back alive? Jiang Lang heaved a great sigh of relief when he saw Yi Qingtang's safe return. Even Jiang Sun sighed lightly as a weight on her heart disappeared. Tang Tang, you're all right? Didn't you enter the forbidden area? Moe looked at Yi Qingtang in surprise and happiness. Yi Qingtang smiled and nodded. Mother, I did enter the forbidden area, but aren't I safely back now? Don't worry. Although she did not share any blood ties with Moe, the warmth of being missed by someone sent a warm feeling to Yi Qingtang's heart. Moe wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and held onto Yi Qingtang's wrists tightly. Jiang Qin was astonished to see Yi Qingtang. Exchanging a surprised look with Jiang Shun, Jiang Qin snickered and asked, Yi Qingtang, where's Jiang Qiu and the others? Jiang Qiu and the others were the Jiang family disciples who chased Yi Qingtang into the forbidden area. Yi Qingtang looked up and said, dead. Jiang Qin smirked and shouted coldly. Yi Qingtang, you're so cruel. How dare you kill fellow disciples of the same clan? Chapter 1542 I am the evidence 1 Jiang Qin. What nonsense are you saying? Moe's expression darkened immediately. However, Jiang Qin ignored Moe's question and turned to kneel before the domain monarch. Father, Jiang Qiu and the rest entered the forbidden area with Yi Qingtang. They did it out of goodwill but were unexpectedly killed by Yi Qingtang. Jiang Qin spoke so well that it seemed as though she witnessed it for herself. Jiang Qin, what you said is truly ridiculous. You didn't even enter the forbidden area. How do you know Tang Tang has something to do with their deaths? Jiang Sun said. Jiang Qin was prepared from the start. They entered the forbidden area together with Yi Qingtang, so why was Yi Qingtang the only one who made it out of the forbidden area alive? Yi Qingtang's skills are the poorest among all of them. If even Yi Qingtang could leave the forbidden area, obviously Jiang Qiu and the others would be able to. However, they died, and Yi Qingtang survived. On the way there, Yi Qingtang got into a conflict with them, and soon afterward, they entered the forbidden area together. Given Yi Qingtang's wickedness, how could she leave the forbidden area on her own without sacrificing their lives? It was indeed shocking that Yi Qingtang could make it out of the forbidden area alive, but what Jiang Qin said was not implausible. The domain monarch did not make an arbitrary decision on this matter and merely looked at Yi Qingtang. Did Jiang Qiu and the others enter the forbidden area with you? Yes. Yi Qingtang nodded. Did you see them die? The domain monarch questioned. Yi Qingtang knew that the domain monarch was not a biased person and naturally recounted how those Jiang family members died in the forbidden area. The domain monarch's expression darkened as he listened. Yet, Jiang Qin scoffed and said, "How ridiculous. Yi Qingtang, do you think all of us are fools? If the forbidden area was as dangerous as you said, why are you the only lucky one? Not a single demon could hurt you. Only you made it out of the forbidden area alive. Of course, whatever you say will be it. Jiang Qin, stop making false accusations. You said it just now as well. Tang Tang's skills are lower than theirs. How could she kill them?" Jiang Sun countered. Jiang Qin cast Yi Qingtang a look and said nonchalantly, "Jiang Qiu and the rest don't have their guard up against Yi Qingtang. Furthermore, they were in a dangerous place. If Yi Qingtang snuck up on them, how could they know? It is easy to find a stick to beat a dog." Jiang Qin said, "Whatever I said has evidence. She's not the only one who entered the forbidden area but is the only one who made it out." Yi Qingtang was already domineering when in the Jiang family and caused so many troubles. If not for her, how would Jiang Qiu and the rest die in the forbidden area? You said that they were not killed by Yi Qingtang, but what evidence do you have? Jiang Sun glared at Jiang Qin and direly wished to strangle this woman, who was actively distorting the truth. Yet, Yi Qingtang appeared expressionless at Jiang Qin's accusations and merely looked at her with a smile. "Aunt, even Yi Qingtang is not saying anything. I think that she's clearly guilty. Don't shield her blindly out of your favoritism for Jiang Lang and lose sight of the Jiang family rules," Jiang Qin said proudly. Yi Qingtang would have no evidence either even if she denied the claims. Regardless of how Yi Qingtang came out, the deaths of Jiang Qiu and the rest must be blamed on Yi Qingtang. The elders had a complicated look as well. They were indeed surprised that Yi Qingtang made it out of the forbidden area alive, but the deaths of the others were suspicious. However, what exactly happened in the forbidden area was unknown to them. Chapter 1543 I am the evidence too. In addition, Jiang Shangyu pointed out Yi Qingtang's undisciplined behavior earlier on. The current clues were disadvantageous to her. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Yi Qingtang, and even the cabinet elders looked at her with a rather complicated expression. "Greetings, domain monarch and all elders." Suddenly, Jiang Qi walked in slowly from the courtyard. His complexion was slightly pale, and he was clearly not in a good condition. Following behind him were two 2- or 3-year-old toddlers, who walked in while shaking their heads. One of them had his hands behind his back like an elderly, while the other had a serious expression that seemed like that of dissatisfaction. "Jiang Qi, you're back." A smile fleeted across the cabinet elder's eyes when he saw Jiang Qi. However, everyone at the scene had a strange look when they noticed the two strange little fellows behind him. Where did these two toddlers pop out from? "Jiang Qi, these two are?" the domain monarch asked. Jiang Qi did not know how to reply either. He came back with Yi Qingtang but knew nothing about these two kids. However, before Jiang Qi spoke, that toddler with a serious expression suddenly walked forward. The serious expression on his young and soft face made one want to laugh no matter how they looked at him. He looked around his surroundings. He heard Jiang Qin's slanders of Yi Qingtang when he walked in just now, and his face darkened immediately. Speaking in an imposing manner with his childish tone, he said, "You wanted evidence just now. I am the evidence." "What?" Jiang Qin was baffled by the toddler who appeared suddenly. What does he mean by, "I am the evidence"? "Jiang Qi, who are these two people?" the elder cabinet asked. "I don't know either. When I saw them, they were already with Yi Qingtang." Jiang Qi replied honestly. Everyone's expression turned serious immediately. Yi Qingtang's matter had not even been cleared up, yet she even brought two unknown children back. "They're probably the illegitimate children of a certain shameless person," Jiang Qin said with a chuckle. However, the moment she said that, the toddler at the front had a dark expression, and he cast Jiang Qin a cold look. "Insolent! Who do you think you are? How dare you slander me?" Yi Qingtang silently lit an incense stick for Jiang Qin, who courted death. Completely unaware of the disaster befalling her, Jiang Qin still had a fearless attitude as she ignored the toddler's scolding and simply looked at the domain monarch. "Father, Yi Qingtang is suspected of killing her fellow clan members, yet she even brought these two dirty illegitimate children back today. If she is allowed to cause trouble in the Jiang family will really end up in a disaster." Illegitimate child Wen Yuqiong's lips twitched. "You are the dirty one. You are the illegitimate child." Illegitimate child 2 Jiang Ye's face darkened to the extreme. "Jiang Duantian, so this is the Jiang family member that you brought up?" Everyone was stunned by Jiang Ye's words. Jiang Duantian was the name of the domain monarch. Even seniors like Jiang Shangyu never called it since Jiang Duantian became the domain monarch. Even the domain monarch was stunned for a moment. "How bold of you! Who do you think you are? How dare you call the domain monarch's full name? Yi Qingtang, this is an illegitimate child that you brought back." Jiang Qin shouted coldly. "Who do I think I am?" Jiang Ye's lips curled up into a sneer, and he subsequently took out the golden seal that symbolized the domain monarch, which he slammed before Jiang Qin. Chapter 1544 I am the evidence 3 Everyone stood up from surprise once the domain monarch's golden seal was out. "This is the domain monarch founder's golden seal." The cabinet elder widened his eyes in disbelief as he looked at the golden seal, and then at Jiang Yu astonishingly. When Jiang Yu left the Jiang family, Jiang Qin and the others of this generation were not born yet. Naturally, they had never seen this domain monarch founder before, much less Jiang Ye's golden seal. They noticed that the golden seal was similar to the domain monarch's but did not think much about it. "Who are you trying to scare by taking such a thing out?" "Ha," Jiang Qin scoffed. She was about to make a few more sarcastic comments, but the domain monarch, who had been silent all this time, suddenly raised his hand and gave Jiang Qin a tight slap. Jiang Qin was stupefied by the domain monarch's slap as she held her swollen face and looked at the enraged domain monarch in shock. Even Yi Yu was startled and turned pale. On the other hand, Jiang Shengyu's eyes were filled with astonishment upon seeing that golden seal. Only 2 Jiang family domain monarch golden seals were produced, one was in the possession of the current domain monarch and the other with the domain monarch founder, Jiang Yu. No one could make an imitation of this golden seal. "Father," Jiang Qin looked at the domain monarch in shock. However, the domain monarch suddenly stood up and glared at Jiang Qin furiously. "Scoundrel!" Then, with everyone's eyes on him, he walked straight forward, got on one knee, and paid respects to that toddler in a respectful manner. "Greetings, domain monarch founder." "What?" Everyone was stunned by the domain monarch's greeting. Soon after, Jiang Shangyu and the cabinet elder also walked forward and kneeled on a knee to that little toddler. "Greetings, domain monarch founder." As the people with the highest authority in the Jiang family kneeled before the little toddler, everyone else was left in endless shock. I did not teach my daughter well. Please punish me, Domain Monarch founder. The Domain Monarch apologized humbly with a tight frown. Back when I passed the Domain Monarch position to you, I hoped that you could lead the Jiang family and stabilize its status. I did not expect that this would be how you lead the Jiang family. How extremely disappointing. Jiang Yu squinted his eyes slightly as he looked at the senior members of the Jiang family, who were all kneeling on the ground. Before Jiang Yu left the Jiang family, the current Domain Monarch was still rather young. Jiang Yu favored his endowment and thus trained him for a long time and passed the Domain Monarch position to him. I am guilty of failing to meet your expectations, Domain Monarch founder, the Domain Monarch said. Humph. Jiang Yu scoffed and subsequently walked up to the Domain Monarch seat. Jiang Qin, Jiang Shun, and the rest were completely dumbfounded. Never would they have thought that this 2- or 3-year-old looking toddler was actually the rumored Domain Monarch founder of the Jiang family. Didn't the Domain Monarch founder already leave the second domain? Why did he return suddenly? And why did he become like this? Everyone was filled with astonishment but did not dare to speak before the Domain Monarch founder. They merely treated it as a minimizing effect of a special cultivation technique that he used. At this moment, no matter how unwilling Jiang Qin and the rest were to believe Jiang Ye's identity, the Domain Monarch and other elders had verified this unbelievable fact. All color was drained from Jiang Qin's face in a second. Extreme uneasiness crept into her heart. What did she say just now? She actually dared to say that the Domain Monarch founder was Yi Qingtang's illegitimate child, and an illegitimate bastard. Just thinking of what she said just now, Jiang Qin felt her legs weaken, and she almost fainted from the overwhelming fear. How she wished she could go back in time and slap her past self. 1545 A great support one Jiang Yu sat in the seat of honor. Although he looked like a child, no one dared to show any trace of disrespect. They all looked deferential and fearful. Jiang Qin was inwardly panicking but forced herself to look calm. She secretly retreated a few steps, planning to lie low. Jiang Shangyu. Jiang Yu suddenly spoke. Jiang Shangyu, whom even the Domain Monarch deferred to, was awe-stricken when faced with Jiang Yu. Here I am. Jiang Shangyu stepped forward. I ordered you to take charge of the Jiang family's Hall of Justice. Is this how you have taught the juniors the rules? Jiang Yu asked with a frosty laugh. Jiang Shangyu broke out in a cold sweat. In terms of family hierarchy, Jiang Yu was more senior than him. When Jiang Yu was the Jiang family Domain Monarch, Jiang Shangyu had just been made an elder. Later on, Jiang Yu had favored him, so he allowed Jiang Shangyu to enter and lead the Hall of Justice. Jiang Shangyu had held pride in himself that he had not let Jiang Yu down. When he was the elder in charge of the Hall of Justice, he had scrupulously fulfilled his duties and was proud of that fact. After all, the Domain Monarch founder had personally appointed him to be the elder of the Hall of Justice. But Jiang Shangyu had not expected his illustrious reputation to be shattered by Jiang Qin's arrogance and rudeness. And before the Domain Monarch founder whom he venerated, no less. I have been remiss. Domain Monarch founder, please punish me. Although Jiang Shangyu had given up his position as elder of the Hall of Justice, he still looked thoroughly ashamed in the face of Jiang Ye's reprimand. After many years in a lofty position, Jiang Shangyu had slowly lost his initial attitude. The Domain Monarch founder had liked his fairness and sense of justice, but now, he had become utterly corrupt. Jiang Shangyu did not even have the courage to lift his head to face Jiang Yu. Since you are aware of this, according to the Jiang family rules, what is the punishment for offending an elder and insulting the dignity of the Domain Monarch? Jiang Ye's gaze turned sharp. No one had dared to be so rude to him since he had reached maturity. Today, the juniors in his family had dared to point at him and call him an illegitimate bastard? The moment Jiang Yu spoke, Jiang Qin, who had been trying to obviate her own existence, turned dead white. Jiang Shangyu did not dare to protect her in the presence of Jiang Yu. Furthermore, he could not erase the guilt and terror in his heart. Based on the rules, the person should be beaten with a rod 100 times, and his name erased from the clan records. He is to be driven from the Jiang family, never to return. No one could insult the dignity of the domain monarch, not even a Jiang family member. Jiang Shengyu's every word pierced Jiang Qin's heart like a sharp knife. Her eyes widened in terror as she looked at Jiang Yu, sitting in the place of honor, with a chilly expression. Thump. Jiang Qin's face showed no trace of her previous pride and arrogance. She kneeled on the floor, terrified, and quivered as she looked at Jiang Yu. Her voice choked up as she spoke. Please, Domain Monarch Founder, have mercy. I know I was foolish. Please, Domain Monarch Founder, have mercy. 100 strokes from the Jiang family Hall of Justice would half kill her. But what truly terrified Jiang Qin was being driven out of the Jiang family. Even Yi Yu, who had remained silently by the side, was so terrified that her fingertips were shaking, not to mention Jiang Qin. Jiang Qin is being driven out of the Jiang family? Then what will happen to me? In the entire Jiang family, Yi Yu relied the most on Jiang Qin. If Jiang Qin left, she would have lost her strongest supporter. Jiang Yu remained expressionless. The domain monarch looked at his ashen daughter and was moved with pity. Chapter 1546 A Great Support 2 Jiang Qin is my daughter. I have not taught her well and should be punished as well. Please, Domain Monarch Founder, have compassion on my daughter and let her off this once. I will certainly discipline her firmly in the future. If there is to be any punishment, I will bear it on behalf of my daughter. The domain monarch spoke sincerely, pleading for Jiang Yu to show mercy. Father, Jiang Qin looked at the domain monarch with tears shimmering in her eyes. Her eyes were filled with terror. Jiang Yu looked at the domain monarch kneeling before him. He had thought well of this new domain monarch when he had chosen the latter. Along the way, Yi Qingtang had told him about some of the Jiang family's matters. And he knew that the domain monarch had done quite well. This time, I will not drive her from the Jiang family for your sake. But she cannot escape punishment. Jiang Yu said sternly. Domain Monarch Founder, thank you for your grace. The domain monarch only secretly heaved a sigh of relief when he heard the domain monarch founder's words. The truth was that he had also been extremely angry that Jiang Qin had insulted the domain monarch founder. Humph. Jiang Yu grunted coldly. His sharp eyes landed on Jiang Qin. Jiang Qin broke out in a cold sweep when his eyes swept over her. She reverently lowered her head and did not dare to look at him anymore. In that case, she may remain in the Jiang family. She is to be disciplined with 100 strokes of the rod, then put in the cliff of reflection to reflect on her misdeeds, Jiang Yu said calmly as he meted out Jiang Qin's sentence. The cliff of reflection was where the Jiang family punished people. It was an extremely cold place. Unless the person who entered it was strong enough to resist its effect, they would be unable to use spirit energy to obtain warmth and would have to endure the extreme cold every day. Furthermore, although Jiang Yu had allowed Jiang Qin to remain in the Jiang family, if she really was beaten 100 times with the rod and all 100 strokes were heavy ones, Jiang Qin would certainly suffer after being thrown into the cliff of reflection to repent. Even worse was that Jiang Yu had said Jiang Qin was to be imprisoned in the cliff of reflection, but he had not stated the term of her sentence. If Jiang Yu did not release Jiang Qin, she might spend her entire life in that cold and miserable place. Everyone understood this, but no one dared to question his judgment. Jiang Qin also understood that she was about to face punishment, but she had no choice. If she resisted, she would be driven out of the Jiang family. And her name would be erased from the Jiang family. Thank you, Domain Monarch Founder. The domain monarch was satisfied with this outcome. Even he felt that Jiang Qin should be punished for insulting the domain monarch founder. Jiang Yu waved his hand in dismissal. He clearly could not be bothered to bandy more words with him. The domain monarch founders personally ordered Jiang Qin's punishment by the rod to be carried out immediately. Elder Meng, the current elder in charge of the Hall of the Justice, came to the hall to mete out the punishment. Jiang Qin's status in the Jiang family was quite high, and the domain monarch favored her. Thus, everyone in the Jiang family usually deferred to her. But now, the domain monarch founder had personally decided on this punishment, and it was to be carried out in front of everyone. The men from the Hall of Justice were too afraid to go easy on her. A moment later, the heavy metal rod glimmered as it rose and fell, hitting Jiang Qin with a smacking noise. Under Jiang Ye's close watch, the men from the Hall of Justice exerted their full strength, and every stroke bit into the flesh. After 20 strokes, Jiang Qin's skin had split open, and her flesh had turned to pulp. The ground was stained with her blood, and her face was pallid. Yi Yu, who was standing by the side, turned white with terror when she saw the previously arrogant Jiang Qin being beaten into a pulp. Chapter 1547. A great support. 3. Tuoba Yao was currently away from the Jiang house. Everyone present was a member of the Jiang family, and no one dared to stop Jiang Yu after he had spoken. Jiang Qin had fallen into a dead faint before the 100 strokes were over. The men meting out the punishment did not dare to stop. They continued until they had given the full 100 strokes. After the punishment was over, Jiang Qin was barely breathing, and it seemed as if she was about to die. Yi Yu and Jiang Shun, who were watching from the sidelines, were horrified. Jiang Shun was secretly rejoicing that he had not spoken just now, otherwise, he would be the one that was being beaten half to death. Throw her into the cliff of reflection. Jiang Ye's expression did not flicker. He simply ordered the men to bring Jiang Qin to the cliff of reflection. Everyone obeyed. Yi Yu watched as the men carried Jiang Qin away, still dripping with blood. She was so frightened, her legs were shaking. She had thought that Yi Qingtang would certainly die this time. She did not expect this turn of events. Not only had Yi Qingtang survived, but Yi Yu's biggest source of support, Jiang Qin, had been heavily injured and thrown into the cliff of reflection for an indeterminate length of time. Everyone can get up, Jiang Yu said sternly, and his gaze swept over them. Only then did everyone arise. Did you say that this girl tried to kill her family members? Jiang Yu changed the subject now that the evil-mouthed person had been dealt with. Although he had not returned to the Jiang family for a long time, he was very pleased with Yi Qingtang, whom he had met recently. If not for Yi Qingtang, he would still be trapped in the forbidden place, waiting for many years until the age reversal curse wore out. I only suspect, everyone had just seen Jiang Qin suffer a terrible beating and did not dare to be too adamant. They had heard Jiang Qi say that Jiang Yu had returned with Yi Qingtang, so those who had been accusing Yi Qingtang did not dare to spout nonsense any longer. Ah, of the people who went to the land of infinite demons with you, who entered the forbidden land and saw her kill someone? Jiang Yu asked with a cold smile. No one. Jiang Shun and Jiang Shangyu gathered up their courage to reply. I don't know why my Jiang family members currently enjoy maligning people. All of you are truly becoming more and more capable. Although Jiang Yu was smiling as he spoke, his cold tone sent chills down everyone's spines. Jiang Shun and the others broke out in a cold sweat. They felt a vague sense of unease. None of you entered the Forbidden Land, but I did. I met this girl in the Forbidden Land. As for those Jiang family members, I saw their bodies with my own eyes. The injuries on their bodies were clearly caused by bites from the demonic bears. What does it have to do with her? Yi Qingtang had saved Jiang Yu. He naturally wanted to repay her. Also, every word he spoke was absolutely true. How could he watch them malign and frame Yi Qingtang? The moment Jiang Yu spoke, Jiang Shun's and the others' expressions turned ugly. No wonder Jiang Yu had said that he was the proof when he appeared. But Jiang Shun quickly recovered and said, since the domain monarch founder witnessed it personally, of course, Yi Qingtang will be cleared of all charges. I felt that Jiang Qin's speculations were too nebulous. Fortunately, the domain monarch founder was present, so we will not have any misunderstandings with Yi Qingtang. A wise man knew which way the wind was blowing. Jiang Shun had no wish to follow Jiang Qin's footsteps. Everyone nodded eagerly. After all, considering the domain monarch's status, he had no reason to shield a junior. Of course, no one would doubt his word. Jiang Lang and his wife were delighted that Jiang Yu had provided evidence. However, they were curious as to how Yi Qingtang had met the domain monarch founder. Chapter 1548. The situation changes one, but everyone quickly understood. They wondered how Yi Qingtang, with her abilities, had managed to get out of the forbidden place alive. But now that they heard Jiang Ye's words, everything seemed to make sense. The domain monarch founder was so powerful. He must have met Yi Qingtang by chance in the Forbidden Land. After learning that Yi Qingtang was a member of the Jiang family, he had brought her out. So it seemed that Yi Qingtang had been fortunate enough to meet the domain monarch founder. With Jiang Yu as a witness, no one dared to accuse Yi Qingtang of anything. Everyone naturally wanted to celebrate the return of the domain monarch founder. Jiang Lang and his wife, who had been deeply worried, finally relaxed now that their daughter had returned safely and had even forged some kind of connection with the domain monarch founder. Jiang Yu ordered Yi Qingtang to rest while he familiarized himself with the Jiang family's current situation. Yi Qingtang's luck had changed. With Jiang Yu behind her, her life in the Jiang family would be much better. Some were glad while others were worried. Yi Qingtang had found safety, but Yi Yu's side was in turmoil. Yi Yu was panicking, but she forced herself to remain calm. When she returned to her room, her expression was extremely ugly. Yi Sun, who had been waiting for good news, was puzzled when she saw this. In the end, Yi Sun learned from Yi Yu that not only had Yi Qingtang survived, but she had even returned with the Jiang family's domain monarch founder. In addition, Jiang Qin had a run-in with the domain monarch founder, and had been punished and thrown into the cliff of reflection. Yi Sun's face turned completely white. Jiang Qin was Yi Yu's greatest source of support in the Jiang family. Now that Jiang Qin was imprisoned in the cliff of reflection, Yi Yu's standing in the Jiang family would probably. Elder sister Yuer, now that Aunt Qin has been shut into the cliff of reflection, Yi Sun could not help but panic. She enjoyed a comfortable life in the Jiang family because of Yi Yu, who had relied on Jiang Qin. Yi Yu looked grim but remained silent. She clenched her fists, which were placed before her on the table. A malicious look flashed across her eyes. She did not expect Yi Qingtang to turn the situation around. Leave the residence immediately. Yi Yu raised her head and looked at Yi Sun. Yi Sun looked bewildered. Leave the residence? Uncle returned to his clan to deal with some matters. Now that Aunt Qin has been imprisoned, only Uncle can help. You must immediately leave for the Tuoba house and tell Uncle what happened to Aunt Qin. Yi Yu's eyes flashed. Jiang Qin's husband, Tuoba Yao, came from a powerful clan, and the couple got along well. Jiang Qin would not have fallen so low if Tuoba Yao had been present. When Yi Sun heard Yi Yu's words, she immediately grasped what Yi Yu meant. Yi Yu was a child of the Jiang family, but no one cared for her. The Jiang family had so many descendants, so who would pay any attention to her? Yi Yu's only hope of retaining her place within the Jiang family was to save Jiang Qin. Yi Sun hurriedly packed her belongings and hastily left the residence in search of Tuoba Yao. Meanwhile, the inner sect elder and the domain monarch were discussing the Jiang family's current situation with the domain monarch founder. The two of them held high positions in the Jiang family, but they treated Jiang Yu with great respect. When Jiang Yu heard about the Jiang family's current situation and that the ancient Yu clan seemed to be on the rise, he looked grim but did not say anything. The Great Martial Arts Championship will occur in half a year. All the major clans will send the best of their younger generation to fight. Did you finish making preparations? Jiang Yu had been shut away for 10,000 years, but he had learned from the domain monarch that some rules in central mainland had remained the same. Chapter 1549. The situation changes too, we are mostly prepared. The elder cabinet has nurtured many of the younger generation. Whenever the domain monarch founder is free, he can take a look, the inner sect elder said slowly. The domain monarch founder had taught the disciples in the elder cabinet in the past. The current domain monarch was a disciple taught by the domain monarch founder and the elder cabinet. Jiang Sun nodded slightly. The inner sect elder then said, since the domain monarch founder has returned, there is a matter that I have been discussing with the domain monarch. What is it? Jiang Yu asked. We are considering whether to allow Yi Qingtang to enter the elder cabinet, the inner sect elder said. Her surprise flashed across Jiang Ye's eyes. Although he favored Yi Qingtang, who had saved him, she did not meet the entry requirements for the elder cabinet. The Jiang family elder cabinet nurtured the top talents in the Jiang family. Almost every domain monarch had been selected from the talents trained by the elder cabinet. Like the current domain monarch, Yi Qingtang was intelligent, but Jiang Yu could tell that Yi Qingtang's abilities were average, and she was merely at the 8th heaven of arcane supremacy. Yi Qingtang attaining this realm at her age would have been considered fairly outstanding in an ordinary family, but in a preeminent family like the Jiang family, she was merely mediocre. Also, the juniors who entered the elder cabinet were accepted not long after birth. Yi Qingtang was already 16 or 17 and was long past the age for entering the elder cabinet. Jiang Yu was well aware of the strict rules governing the Jiang family elder cabinet. Even the son of the domain monarch could not enter if he was not sufficiently talented. But he was rather curious about the inner sect elder's suggestion. The inner sect elder saw that Jiang Yu looked puzzled, so he said, the domain monarch founder doesn't know about this. We have been deliberating over this matter because Yi Qingtang has the heavenly demon devouring bloodline within her. Such a mutant heavenly demon devouring bloodline has not appeared in the Jiang family for 10,000 years. The moment the inner sect elder spoke, a look of surprise appeared on Jiang Ye's face. Are you saying that girl has a mutant heavenly demon bloodline? Jiang Yu held pride in his outstanding martial arts talent. His only regret was that the heavenly demon bloodline in his body had not mutated, otherwise, his powers would be doubled. That's right. The inner sect elder nodded. Then why was she not accepted into the elder cabinet long ago? Jiang Yu frowned slightly. Just possessing the mutant heavenly demon bloodline alone would be sufficient to admit Yi Qingtang into the elder cabinet. Well, the inner sect elder hesitated before telling Jiang Yu about how Yi Qingtang had been kidnapped soon after she was born. Jiang Yu looked stern when he learned that Yi Qingtang had grown up in the first mainland and had just returned to the Jiang family. A bunch of useless fools. How could you be so careless when you knew that a mutation would awaken in her bloodline in the future? No wonder Yi Qingtang's surname was Yi and not Jiang. Please, domain monarch founder, calm down. The domain monarch and inner sect elder also felt ashamed when they thought of this matter. Jiang Ye's eyes narrowed slightly, and his little hand tapped lightly on the table. Although she spent many years outside the family, she does indeed possess the mutant heavenly demon bloodline in her body. Although it has been delayed by 10 years or more, it might not be too late to allow her to enter the elder cabinet and cultivate diligently. Yes. Jiang Yu paused before continuing, after admitting her into the elder cabinet, you do not need to arrange for an elder to teach her. Since I have returned to the Jiang family, I will teach the girl in the future. Jiang Yu had his own plans. Although he had returned to the Jiang family, he was still affected by the age reversal curse and had yet to regain his powers. Chapter 1550. The situation changes. 3. The Jiang family did not realize that Jiang Ye's powers were greatly reduced. They only thought he had cultivated some special technique that hid his powers and changed his physical appearance. But of course, Yi Qingtang knew the truth. Jiang Yu did not want the Jiang family to know about his current situation. Although he had lost his powers, he would recover them in the future. Furthermore, his achievements in the martial arts realm over 10,000 years ago were unrivaled. He would be the most suitable person to teach Yi Qingtang. When the inner sect elder and the domain monarch heard that Jiang Yu wanted to personally teach Yi Qingtang, they did not think anything of it and felt that this arrangement would be the most suitable. If the domain monarch founder is willing to take the trouble to personally teach Yi Qingtang, then it will be Yi Qingtang's good fortune. After all, over 10 years of prime cultivation time had been wasted. The inner sect elder was not sure he could train Yi Qingtang anew. However, if Jiang Yu took over, then it was a completely different matter. The inner sect elder could not possibly compare in ability to Jiang Yu, who had personally taught the current domain monarch. Alright, let's do that then. You go ahead and make the arrangements. When everything is ready, I will bring the girl, and we will go together to Taiyuan Valley, where the elder cabinet is situated. The inner sect elder accepted the charge and immediately went off to make arrangements. Yi Yu remained in her room, filled with worry. But before Tuoba Yao could return, she was greeted by a stunning piece of news. Yi Qingtang had been chosen by the elder cabinet. They would make an exception for her to enter the elder cabinet to cultivate, and the domain monarch founder would personally teach Yi Qingtang martial arts. This news broke on Yi Yu like a thunderclap, shocking her to the core. She would never have dreamed that Yi Qingtang, whom she had robbed of her spirit root and dismissed as nothing, would have such a meteoric rise. Yi Qingtang would not only enter the elder cabinet, which Yi Yu yearned for, but she would even be personally taught by the domain monarch founder. Having fainted from anger, Yi Yu spent her afternoon in her room. Jiang Yu and the others had discussed and agreed that Yi Qingtang's mutated heavenly demon bloodline would not be made known within the Jiang family. Only the few of them would be aware of it. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang was mildly surprised to receive the news. The domain monarch founder wants to induct me into the elder cabinet and personally teach me? Yi Qingtang had heard about the Jiang family's elder cabinet, but she did not expect the domain monarch founder to help her out by getting her into the cabinet. While Yi Qingtang was well aware that although Jiang Yu favored her somewhat, it was no easy matter to be admitted into the Jiang family's elder cabinet. Her mutated heavenly demon bloodline was probably the pivotal factor that permitted her to enter the elder cabinet. No matter the reason, Jiang Lang and his wife were delighted by this piece of news. Tang Tang, your father and I will be delighted if you enter the elder cabinet. But, after entering the elder cabinet, you will have to move to Taiyuan Valley. I really can't bear to let you go. Moe sighed softly. She was both elated and wistful. The Jiang family's elder cabinet seemed to be inside the Jiang house. However, the true elder cabinet was not there but in faraway Taiyuan Valley. All the disciples in the elder cabinet had been brought to Taiyuan Valley when they were children. There, they cultivated and were carefully taught by elders. Since Yi Qingtang had been selected by the elder cabinet, she would have to go there too. It's only a temporary separation. It's a wonderful thing for Tang Tang to be able to enter Taiyuan Valley to cultivate. It's just a pity that Tang Tang was lost earlier. If she had entered Taiyuan Valley to cultivate when she was young, she might be able to compete in this year's martial arts championship. Jiang Sun, who was listening to their conversation, could not help but sigh regretfully. Chapter 1551 Jade Pendant 1 Martial Arts Championship. Yi Qingtang had not heard about it. The Martial Arts Championship is a gathering of the greatest clans in Central Mainland. The most talented among the younger generation of each clan will all attend. During the championship, the top 10 participants will enter a mystical abyss. It has been said that the mystic realm is very strange. Everyone who enters emerges as a force to be reckoned with. Jiang Sun slowly explained the martial arts championship to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang's previous life was hard. She seldom had any peace when she was in Central Mainland and was endlessly hunted. It was no wonder she had not heard about this gathering of the greatest clans. As for the mystical abyss, Jiang Sun and the others had heard about it and knew it must contain something very powerful, perhaps a wonderful opportunity. Many years ago, when I was young, I was unable to enter in the martial arts championship and was only a bystander. But I remember that martial arts championship was unusually tragic. I think the champion was a young girl from a hidden clan in the Central Dynasty. Jiang Lang was filled with nostalgia when he recalled the martial arts championship he had witnessed dozens of years ago. Are you talking about Zhou Yuan? Moe asked. Oh, do you know her? Jiang Lang was not yet married to Moe at that time, and he wondered how Moe knew this person. Moe laughed softly. Of course I know her. But she's not from some hidden clan as you say. My clan had already noticed her before the martial arts championship. She did not seem to be from any clan and merely pretended to be from a hidden clan. Her powers were truly terrifying. But strange to say, she appeared in the Central Dynasty out of thin air. The couple clearly remembered the outstanding members of their generation. If you had not mentioned her, I would have forgotten that I still have a picture of her, Moe suddenly said. When Zhou Yuan appeared at the martial arts championship, she had fully displayed her talents and cowed everyone else. Someone from the ancient dynasty had been secretly present. Zhou Yuan's poise had made a deep impression on this person, and he had even drawn many pictures of Zhou Yuan. At that time, Moe's clan had given her a copy and begged her to find Zhou Yuan. This was really interesting. Moe took a dust-covered drawing from her space ring. Moe had not paid much attention to the drawing when she first received it. She simply tossed it into her space ring without even glancing at it. I heard that the girl vanished after she emerged from the mystical abyss. Jiang Sun had heard something about this. Without a second thought, Moe opened the scroll, and they looked at it together. A vivid picture of a girl was drawn on the scroll. Most of her face was covered by a veil, and she wore red robes and stood serenely in the midst of a fierce gale. Her smiling eyes seemed to pierce their souls. Jiang Lang and Moe had casually mentioned her and were just taking a look. But when Yi Qingtang looked at the scroll and glanced at the girl's neck, she was completely shaken. This ancient dynasty person had deeply admired the girl in the picture, and every detail was perfectly and exquisitely represented. The girl could clearly be seen to be wearing an exquisite jade pendant around her neck. When Yi Qingtang looked at the jade pendant, she felt her head begin to buzz. The jade pendant was identical to the one that her birth mother had left her. Chapter 1552 Jade Pendant 2 How can this be? Yi Qingtang was inwardly shocked but continued to look calm. Mother, did your clansman draw this girl from life? Yi Qingtang calmed herself down. Perhaps Moe's clansman had added the jade pendant later on. But Moe chuckled softly. Impossible. Although my clansman was besotted with Zhou Yuan, he did not dare to approach her. However, he had the ability to memorize anything he saw. He secretly drew this picture, but I heard from other clansmen who saw Zhou Yuan that it was identical to Zhou Yuan in every detail. Even the pattern on her clothes and her accessories were exactly the same. He did not change anything. Moe's words were like a stone thrown into a lake, creating a series of ripples in Yi Qingtang's heart. If that was so, then the jade pendant must belong to Zhou Yuan, right? Yi Qingtang had come to Central Mainland firstly to save little Yu Yun and release all the living things in the First Mainland, and secondly, to search for her birth mother. In the past, she had suspected that her mother was in the Central Dynasty. And now, Zhou Yuan had appeared in the Central Dynasty. Was this a coincidence or? Yi Qingtang's heart was filled with questions, and she continued to ask about Zhou Yuan. Zhou Yuan appeared suddenly, but her talents were stunning. She completely devastated the top talents of her generation in Central Mainland. She topped the rankings and entered the mystical abyss, but something happened to her there. I heard that after she was in a strange mood after she emerged from the mystical abyss, and she flew away and vanished. Moe slowly recounted this. Her knowledge of Zhou Yuan was due to her clansman, who was besotted with Zhou Yuan. The more Yi Qingtang heard, the more shocked she felt. Zhou Yuan's age was similar to that of her mother. The jade pendant was certainly the same, and it had also appeared in the central dynasty. The clues mounted up, and Yi Qingtang increasingly felt that this Zhou Yuan might be her birth mother. When Yi Qingtang had first arrived in the central dynasty, her plans had been disrupted by the Jiang family. She did not expect to find a clue about her mother in the Jiang family. Mystical Abyss. Based on what Moe and the others said, Zhou Yuan had entered the mystical abyss. Perhaps Yi Qingtang could find more clues about Zhou Yuan there. Tang, you seem very interested in the martial arts championship. Sigh. Jiang Sun did not know that Yi Qingtang was interested in Zhou Yuan and thought that she was interested in the martial arts championship. Based on Yi Qingtang's abilities, she would not qualify to enter the martial arts championships. Although she was now entering the elder cabinet, she probably would not have any major breakthroughs for a few years. By the time her learning was complete, she would be too old to meet the requirements for the martial arts championship. Yi Qingtang did not say anything, but she continued to ponder the matter. In her previous life, she had not known her parentage and had passed her life in confusion. In this life, she wanted to know who her parents were and whether they were still alive. Yi Qingtang had not been very interested in this martial arts championship, but now that clues about her mother were in the mystical abyss, she would have to try her best. There was still half a year to go. She still had a chance. Moe and Jiang Lang could not bear to have their daughter, who had only returned recently, leave for the far-off Taiyuan Valley. But for Yi Qingtang's sake, they packed her things. After a few days in the Jiang house, Jiang Yu led Yi Qingtang and the inner sect elder, and they headed for Taiyuan Valley. Chapter 1553 Jade Pendant 3 Within the Jiang family, Yi Yu, Jiang Shun, and the rest were infuriated that Yi Qingtang was going to Taiyuan Valley with Jiang Yu. They did not know that Yi Qingtang had the mutated heavenly demon bloodline, so they were outraged that Yi Qingtang could enter the elder cabinet with her age and cultivation realm. However, the domain monarch founder had personally granted her permission and would teach her himself. Yi Yu was consumed with jealousy but had no choice but to accept it. Yi Qingtang also brought the little white tiger along to Taiyuan Valley. But one person among the group stood out. In the carriage, Jiang Yu looked at the utterly shameless Yu Qiong, who was sitting opposite him. He itched to kill him with one blow. Yu Qiong had followed him to the Jiang house and was unaware of any friction he had caused. At first, the Jiang family members had been curious about Yu Qiong's identity. Of course, Jiang Yu could not say that he was the legendary elder Yu Qiong of the ancient Yu clan. However, before he could find a cover story for Yu Qiong, he had given himself an identity. I am your domain monarch founder's loyal friend. Jiang Yu almost ordered him to be driven out. What loyal friend? We almost died in the forbidden land of the land of infinite demons. Doesn't that count as being friends through weal and woe? Yu Qiong responded shamelessly. Jiang Yu might be furious with him, but he had no choice but to bring him along. After all, he did not dare to leave Yu Qiong alone in the Jiang house. Yi Qingtang sat in the other carriage with the little white tiger and Jiang Qi. Jiang Qi's injuries had mostly healed. He had returned to the Jiang house previously because they needed to go to the land of infinite demons. Now that the matter had been concluded, he needed to get back to Taiyuan Valley. Jiang Qi was usually silent. He did not utter a single word while he traveled with Yi Qingtang in the same carriage. He was like a sealed book. Yi Qingtang's emotions were in turmoil because she had obtained a clue about her mother. She was thinking about how she could increase her powers as quickly as possible in order to participate in the martial arts championship in half a year's time, and enter the mystical abyss to investigate. She had a strange premonition that she might be able to find clues about her mother in the mystical abyss. After an exhausting half a month of traveling, they arrived at Taiyuan Valley. Taiyuan Valley was the sacred cultivation ground of the Jiang family. Later, when the Elder Cabinet was established, it became the place where the Elder Cabinet trained the Jiang family's top talents. The inner sect elder alighted from the carriage first and exchanged a few words with the guard outside the valley. Then, the carriage entered Taiyuan Valley. The interior of Taiyuan Valley was extremely spacious. It was even the same size as the Falling Sky Valley, where Yi Qingtang stayed in the first mainland. Though Taiyuan Valley was large, only the Jiang family lived there, unlike Falling Sky Valley where there were many disciples. Also, only the most talented members of the Jiang family were in Taiyuan Valley, so it looked even more spacious. The valley was cloaked in mist, and little streams flowed through it. The moment Yi Qingtang stepped into Taiyuan Valley, she sensed its rich spirit energy. Jiang Yu had just returned, and the inner sect elder needed to bring him to make his preparations. Yi Qingtang was handed over to Jiang Qi to familiarize her with the valley. Jiang Qi was a man of few words. He brought Yi Qingtang around the valley and explained everything in a nutshell. He did not do it perfunctorily, but he was very concise. Just as Jiang Qi was about to bring Yi Qingtang to her living quarters, the sounds of fighting rang out from the mountain stream. Yi Qingtang looked in the direction of the noise. Numerous shadowy dragon forms suddenly rose from the stream. Many giant dragons that formed from qi condensation roared deafeningly together with the dragons above the stream. Light and shadow interlaced, and the strong aftershock rippled through the surroundings. Even Yi Qingtang, who was standing some distance away, sensed the power of the whirlwind created by the impact. Chapter 1554 Taiyuan Valley 1. Although Yi Qingtang did not know who was fighting at the stream, she knew they must be the supremely talented members of the Jiang family who were being trained by the Elder Cabinet. She could gauge their talent from the power displayed in the dragon aura. Jiang Qi was used to all this. He just glanced at it and then continued leading Yi Qingtang towards her living quarters. Only the Jiang family lived in Taiyuan Valley. Besides the inner sect elders of the Elder Cabinet, the rest were the top talents of the Jiang family. Youths like Jiang Qi and the others were brought to Taiyuan Valley when they were very young. They were separated from their parents and received the best training from the Jiang family. They were carefully nurtured from the time of their birth and seldom left the valley. Perhaps no one in central mainland knew about them, but when they left the valley and displayed their skills, they would amaze everyone. Actually, all the great families in central mainland carefully nurtured the best talents of the next generation, and this was not unique to the Jiang family. On the other hand, those with mediocre talents would remain in the family clan. Although they might win fame, they would have to stand aside once the highly talented members of their generation emerged. Like Jiang Yiming of the Jiang family. Elder brother Qi, have you returned? Jiang Qi had just brought Yi Qingtang to the living quarters when a petite young girl, about 11 or 12 years of age, approached them while batting her eyes. The young girl was very good-looking, and she had a pair of large, expressive eyes. A smile lurked in the corners of her mouth, and her eyes crinkled in amusement. She looked extremely likable. Jiang Qi nodded his head slightly when he saw the girl. The girl's eyes involuntarily fell on Yi Qingtang, and an inquisitive look surfaced in her eyes. Who is this? Yi Qingtang, also a member of the Jiang family, Jiang Qi said blandly. A trace of surprise flashed across the girl's eyes. She was apparently well versed with the rules of the Elder Cabinet and did not expect a 16 or 17-year-old Jiang family member to enter the cabinet. However, she quickly regained her composure. She walked smilingly over to Jiang Qi and placed her hands on his arms in a familiar gesture. Elder brother Qi, was the land of infinite demons fun? Was there really a big demon? Did you see it? The girl's eyes were filled with curiosity. Jiang Qi's face did not show much expression. He only replied simply and showed no sign of elaborating. If you need me, you can look for me, Jiang Qi said to Yi Qingtang and then left. The young girl's room was next to Yi Qingtang's room. When she saw that Jiang Qi had left, she looked at Yi Qingtang with wide eyes and gave her a sweet smile. You're older than me. Why don't I call you elder sister Qing in the future? Elder sister Qing. Yi Qingtang puzzled over this term and did not know whether to cry or to laugh. However, this young girl was so likable that she simply smiled and nodded her head without saying anything. Elder sister Qing, Im Jiang Xiaobai. I live next door to you. Brother Qi is usually busy. If you have any questions, you can look for me, Jiang Xiaobai said smilingly. The two dimples in her cheeks looked especially sweet when she smiled. All right. Yi Qingtang nodded. Compared to Jiang Yiming and Yi Yu in the Jiang house, Yi Qingtang felt that the younger Jiangs in Taiyuan Valley were much friendlier. Jiang Xiaobai said a few more words to Yi Qingtang, then waved, and let Yi Qingtang go about her business. After she saw Yi Qingtang enter her room, the smile on Jiang Xiaobai's little face immediately disappeared. She turned and instantly vanished on the spot. Chapter 1555 Taiyuan Valley 2 Taiyuan Valley was very large, but only a few Jiang family members lived there. Besides the elders and the younger members of the Jiang family, there was only a group of servants. Yi Qingtang knew that if she wanted to enter the mystical abyss, she had to be one of the top 10 in the martial arts championship happening in half a year's time. Therefore, she needed to achieve the highest level of cultivation within this half a year. The heavenly demon devouring bloodline had been in her body for a long time, but she was not able to completely control it. However, she could learn from the Jiang family how to control the heavenly demon bloodline. Yi Qingtang had been meditating and cultivating in her room for a while when Jiang Xiaobai knocked on her room door. She said that she would bring Yi Qingtang around Taiyuan Valley and also get something to eat. Elder sister Qing, your little white tiger looks very adorable. Is he your pet? Jiang Xiaobai asked curiously as she cocked her head on one side and looked at the little white tiger, who was in Yi Qingtang's arms. The little white tiger looked at her blandly. Fuck you. I'm a fiend celestial beast. You're the pet. Everyone in your entire family is a pet. Just as the two of them walked into the main square of Taiyuan Valley, they noticed a group of youths wearing light blue shirts in the main square. Their clothes showed that they were members of the Jiang family. There seemed to be some sort of disturbance among them. Yi Qingtang did not intend to see what the matter was, but Jiang Xiaobai forcibly towed her over. Why was she weaker than a young girl? Yi Qingtang was shocked by Jiang Xiaobai's strength. Where's Jiang Lin? A tall, coarse-looking youth among the group frowned and glanced around. He looked about 18 or 19 years old and was dressed completely in gray. Behind him followed some others who wore similar clothes. They were clearly not from the Jiang family and were arguing with the group of youths from the Jiang family. Before long, a handsome youth slowly emerged from the Jiang family group. His features were clear-cut and handsome, and he moved with an elegant air. He wore a sword about his waist and was clearly the Jiang Lin that the large youth was looking for. A look of surprise surfaced in Yi Qingtang's eyes when she saw Jiang Lin. Yi Qingtang had seen Jiang Lin in her previous life. However, she saw him many years later, when she was being hunted by various forces. Jiang Lin had already left Taiyuan Valley then and was fully displaying his skills in central mainland. If Jiang Qi was one of the geniuses of the Jiang family's younger generation, then Jiang Lin could only be described as demonically talented. Jiang Lin was extremely powerful and had a zest for living. He was renowned for his exorcism swordplay, and many martial arts cultivators in central mainland acknowledged him to be one of the best swordsmen of his generation. Yi Qingtang had not expected to meet the yet unknown Jiang Lin here. Chao Su, are you looking for me? Jiang Lin stood forth. His calm gaze passed over the large youth. So you have the guts to come forward. I can't be bothered to bandy words with you. You injured our Chao family's disciples and mocked the Chao family for having no talented members. Today, I have come to meet you and show you that my family is not lacking in talent. Chao Su clenched his fists so hard they cracked. His huge body showed no signs of the feebleness of youth. He is from the Chao family. Yi Qingtang looked at Chao Su. The Chao family was one of the most powerful families in central mainland. Many of the most powerful cultivators renowned throughout central mainland came from this family. When Yi Qingtang came to central mainland in her previous life, she heard there was discord between the Chao and Jiang families, but she was not sure of the reasons behind it. The Jiang family had been renowned for 10,000 years as the domain monarch's family. But as the supreme power in central mainland, it was frequently challenged by other powerful families. Chapter 1556 Taiyuan Valley 3 Yi Qingtang guessed that some friction had arisen between this Chao family youth and Jiang Lin when they were training outside. This fool Chao Su really has a death wish. He actually dares to challenge Jiang Lin. A few youths from the Jiang family, who were standing nearby, glanced disdainfully at the heavily built Chao Su. Jiang Lin had another breakthrough in his swordplay a few days ago. Chao Su is just going to embarrass himself. I remember that when Chao Su and Jiang Lin had a match 2 years ago, Chao Su was completely crushed. Haha, that's right, the group of Jiang family youths looked at Chao Su and the others derisively. Jiang Lin's swordsmanship was considered one of the best among the younger generation in Taiyuan Valley. They did not expect Chao Su to dare to come here. I defeated you in the past. I have no interest in wasting my time with you. Jiang Lin raised his brows slightly and looked at Chao Su patronizingly. Chao Su laughed coldly and said, "Do you have no interest or no guts? If you're scared, that's easily dealt with. I'll let you have 2 moves. If you can beat me, I'll leave immediately and never appear before you again. How about that? Or do you think you have no hope of beating me? In that case, I'll leave if you kneel and apologize to me publicly. How's that?" Chao Zu's speech was very sarcastic. The faces of many of the Jiang family youths darkened. But Jiang Lin frowned. I really have never seen anyone so shameless. Who are you to let me have 2 moves? Elder brother Lin, just play along with him so he can gain some self-awareness. Then, he won't embarrass himself in front of others in the future. Many Jiang family youths clamored. Jiang Lin looked at Chao Su impatiently. If you're asking to be embarrassed, I won't stand on ceremony. With that, Jiang Lin suddenly drew his sword. The moment his sword left its scabbard, a cold light shone forth. The corners of Chao Zu's mouth curved in a frosty smile when he saw that Jiang Lin had drawn his sword. He rolled his neck, and a cracking noise could be heard. Then, he said, "Come on. I'm waiting for you to embarrass me." A cold light flashed across Jiang Lin's eyes. He suddenly swept his sword towards Chao Su. But Chao Su did not try to avoid the blow. He stood upright in his original spot, watching Jiang Lin's sword descend on him. He actually bent his neck to expose it and moved it to meet the sword. Is Chao Su crazy? Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. They saw that Jiang Lin's sword was sweeping towards Chao Zu's neck. Clang! A clear ringing noise pierced their eardrums. Jiang Lin's sword squarely struck Chao Zu's neck. But it was as if the sword had struck millennium meteoric iron. It did not even cut into Chao Zu's skin. A look of shock flashed across Jiang Lin's eyes. Chao Su stretched his neck, and a cold smile appeared on his lips. He looked at Jiang Lin mockingly. First move. Jiang Lin, aren't you being too dismissive? You didn't use any strength at all. Just like a girl. Jiang Lin's expression changed. Although he had only used half his strength just now, most people could not have withstood it. 2 years ago, Chao Su would not have been able to withstand it either. Elder brother Lin, don't stand on ceremony with this fellow. He thinks too highly of himself just because he's stoutly built. The Jiang family youths did not think much of what had just happened. The Chao family mainly cultivated physical strength, and their physical defensive abilities were extremely strong. Yi Qingtang, who was watching from the sidelines, looked on thoughtfully. Her current powers could not compare to Jiang Lin and the others. However, in her previous life, she had also reached the realm of Holy Venerate after training for 300 years. Her experience in combat was certainly greater than what these youths had. (1557) Display of remarkable prowess. Jiang Lin's swordplay was indeed pretty good. Although he did not use all his strength, Cao Zu's physique must not be ordinary for him to be able to take the blow from Jiang Lin. Again. Cao Su cracked into a big smile and patted his chest. Don't be a pussy. Use more strength and hit here. Jiang Lin's expression darkened slightly. This time, he used 90% of his force when he swung his sword toward Cao Zu's chest. Clang! However, it was as if the sword collided into a huge rock, producing a clear sound. The cloth in front of Cao Zu's chest was slit, but his skin was completely devoid of any red marks. The surrounding Jiang family youths were stunned for a moment. What's happening? Why is Cao Zu's physique so powerful? Could it be that Jiang Lin went easy on him? Seeing the slit on his clothes, Cao Zu's eyes were filled with ridicule as he looked at Jiang Lin and smiled. The second move. Jiang Lin, this is all you can do. These 2 strikes were like scratching an itch for me. Why? Is your hand crippled? You can't hold the sword anymore. Jiang Lin's expression worsened. Not only was Cao Sun completely uninjured from the 2 strikes, but Jiang Lin's wrist was instead numb from the impact. The glee in Cao Zu's eyes deepened when he saw Jiang Lin's worsening expression. The Cao family's unique impenetrable golden armor was a treasure for cultivating physique. Previously, Cao Su only cultivated to the 3rd level and thus was still unable to block Jiang Lin's sword. However, a few days ago, Cao Zu's impenetrable golden armor advanced to the 4th level. Each level of the impenetrable golden armor was a significant leap from the previous one. If Cao Su did not have this confidence, he would not dare to come straight for Jiang Lin either. 2 moves are already over. Jiang Lin. I won't be letting you have the next move for free. Be more careful. Don't break your tiny arms and legs, Cao Su said with a scornful laugh. The youths of the Cao family behind him roared with laughter as well. Their ridicule was evident. People in the Jiang family only amount to that little. So much for being known as the best few in swordplay technique among the younger generation of the Jiang family. In the end, he can't even slit Cao Zu's skin. I think that this bullshit swordplay technique might be worse than a chef's knife in our Cao family. Cao Su, take it easy. Don't break people's swords with your bulky body. Ha! The boisterous laughter of members of the Cao family was extremely piercing, and Jiang Lin's face darkened by the second. In the next instant, Jiang Lin leaped up as a stream of sword aura penetrated through the sword, and several meters of sword aura struck Cao Zu's head. A bolt of light flashed before Cao Zu's eyes. With a scoff, he lifted his hand and deflected the sword aura. Boom! The sword aura charged toward a mountain peak 100 meters away, flattening it entirely. Jiang Lin turned pale. Yi Qingtang's brows furrowed slightly. Jiang Lin had used all his strength in that attack just now. How boring. Jiang Lin, you're only capable of this? Cao Su suddenly guffawed before taking an abrupt leap and swinging his fist at the pale Jiang Lin. Jiang Lin barely dodged it, and Cao Zu's fist crashed into the ground. In a moment, the entire ground seemed to crumble from Cao Zu's punch as web-like fissures extended 100 meters away from where his fist landed. However, that punch caused Jiang Lin's expression to change drastically. Before he could return to his senses, Cao Su bolted to the sky at the speed of lightning. The moment he landed down, he stepped straight on Jiang Lin's head, which was then entirely driven into the ground. Chapter 1558 Display of Remarkable Prowess 2 How are you at your limit already? Chao Su stepped on Jiang Lin's head arrogantly. If Jiang Lin was not in the heavenly venerate realm, his head would have been crushed by that blow. Yet, despite so, Jiang Lin was already puking blood as he struggled to get up. However, Chao Su was like a huge mountain, pinning him down and rendering him unable to move. The faces of the Jiang family youths darkened instantly, and they walked up to Chao Su, who could not be any more arrogant at that moment. The Chao family members behind Chao Su rushed forward as well. Both sides were face to face with each other, and a fight was about to start. What? Jiang Lin couldn't defeat Chao Su, so now you all want to make use of your numbers to fight us? Is the Jiang family only capable of this? Is there no one else who can fight? There's no problem if you all want to fight. We will keep you all company to the end. The Jiang family youths had dark expressions and almost charged forward. However, before a fight erupted, a slender figure suddenly appeared in the air. A teenage girl in a sky blue blouse landed lightly before everyone. Before Chao Su returned to his senses, he sensed a burst of energy charging towards him, and he instinctively retreated. At the same time, Jiang Lin, who was under his foot, was instantly pulled up by a small, fair hand. Xinyue, Jiang Lin was extremely pale with patches of blood around his mouth. A look of embarrassment was etched on his face as he looked at the girl who pulled him up. Chao Su, you can endure beatings rather well, can't you? With her chin lifted slightly, the stunning girl glanced at Jiang Lin, and her lips curled into a sneer as her eyes swept across Chao Su and the rest half-heartedly. I wonder if you're interested in receiving a strike from me? Chao Zu's eyes flickered when he saw that girl. Chao Su, she is Jiang Xinyue, one of the extraordinary talents of the Jiang family, said a Chao family youth, who identified the girl immediately. Jiang Xinyue? Ha! I haven't heard of your name before. If you want to save your reputation, tell that little demon of your Jiang family to come and fight me. Chao Su scoffed, completely disregarding Jiang Xinyue. The little demon Chao Shui mentioned referred to the disciple with the best endowment in the current generation of the Jiang family. At a young age, he had already defeated all the extraordinarily talented disciples of his generation. Although he had not officially revealed his skills to anyone else in this mainland, his name was already circulated among the big family clans. Jiang Xinyue handed Jiang Lin to the rest of the Jiang family youths and subsequently looked at Chao Su with a smile. You want to look for him? Take a strike from me first. If you can receive it, I will immediately send him here. All right. I will receive a strike from you then. But let me put it out there first. Don't blame me if you fail to injure me and instead cause an internal injury to yourself. Chao Su derided coldly as he shot Jiang Xinyue a look of disdain. The Jiang family youths were already annoyed with Chao Su, and if Jiang Xinyue did not appear, some of them would have already begun fighting Chao Su. However, now that Jiang Xinyue stepped out, all of them remained calm instead and looked at Chao Su as if he was a dead man. Receive a strike from Jiang Xinyue? He really dared to spout such nonsense. Don't worry. I definitely won't blame you. Jiang Xinyue chuckled lightly as her fair hands slowly unsheathed her sword. Her eyes were lowered slightly, and she appeared rather relaxed. Chao Su loosened up his joints as he stood at the spot glaringly while waiting for Jiang Xinyue to strike with her sword and embarrass herself. Chapter 1559 Display of Remarkable Prowess 3 With a faint smile, Jiang Xinyue walked forward slowly and raised her sword with her fair hand. In Chao Zu's eyes, this action seemed weak and lacking in strength, and he increasingly found the situation to be a joke. But just as Chao Su was prepared to receive the strike casually, the sword in Jiang Xinyue's hand was enveloped with a faint sword aura right before the attack landed. She slashed at her own pace, but the seemingly casual set of motions, however, stirred an overwhelming sensation of pressure in the surroundings the moment the sword aura landed. A look of astonishment flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes the moment she saw the sword aura that appeared dull and ordinary at first glance. Chao Su, who was initially absent-minded, suddenly felt a suffocating amount of pressure coming from the sky. His eyes widened slightly, and cold sweat beaded on his forehead as he looked at the sword aura Jiang Xinyue produced. The sword aura seemed to be able to pierce the air, and it was as though time had come to a standstill at this instant. An ominous feeling crept into Chao Zu's heart. Never had he thought that Jiang Xinyue's casual slash would carry such immense sword aura. In just a moment, Chao Su did not dare to be nonchalant any longer and immediately took it seriously. He gathered all his strength in his body and instantly released all the powers of the impenetrable golden armor. The ground beneath his feet shattered into countless pieces from the massive impact. Even his feet, which were firmly rooted to the ground, retreated backward immediately. But this was still too late. Jiang Xinyue's slash seemed to be slow, but it was, almost unrealistically, as swift as a lightning bolt. In a flash, the bolt of sword aura struck Chao Zu's body. Although he tried to dodge the strike in the last second, it was too late, and it landed right on his shoulder. Boom! Jiang Xinyue opened a huge cut on Chao Zu's shoulder. Under the massive impact, he let out a yell as the ground beneath his feet shattered into pieces. A mouthful of blood splattered out of his mouth. He retreated in a ruffle as he glared at the smiling Jiang Xinyue in disbelief. How? How can it be? Chao Zu's eyes were filled with shock. He never expected the physical strength of his impenetrable golden armor 4th level to be slashed apart by Jiang Xinyue so easily. Jiang Lin's lips curled into a sneer at the sight of the pale Chao Su. Jiang Lin could boast that he was rather talented in swordplay, but he could only be ranked close to the front few among the disciples of his generation in Taiyuan Valley. He was far from entering the top 3. However, Jiang Xinyue was ranked 3rd on the swordplay ranking of their generation. Even the confident Jiang Lin did not dare to compare with Jiang Xinyue in swordplay. Chao Su was simply embarrassing himself. What a pity. You could not receive my strike. I'm afraid you can't see him. Jiang Xinyue chuckled as she glanced at Chao Su mockingly. All Chao Su felt was acute pain in his shoulder, which almost tore him apart internally. If he did not use all his strength just now, he would have been split into 2 by Jiang Xinyue. Just you wait. Chao Su swore before miserably leaving Taiyuan Valley with his people. Useless. Jiang Xinyue scoffed. Then, she turned around and was about to leave when she suddenly noticed Jiang Xiaobai beside Yu Qingtang. A look of surprise flashed across her eyes. Why are you? Without waiting for Jiang Xinyue to finish her sentence, Jiang Xiaobai beamed. Sister Yu, your swordplay has become more and more exquisite. Jiang Xinyue's lips twitched slightly before she glanced at Yu Qingtang, who was beside Jiang Xiaobai. Something seemed to flash across her eyes, but she did not say anything. Chapter 15 60,000 Treasures Pavilion. When the consecutive fights made Yu Qingtang realize the skills of these so-called extraordinary talents in the Jiang family. All the supreme family clans would send their best juniors to the martial arts championship. If Yu Qingtang wished to gain this chance, it was impossible with her current skills. After Yu Qingtang left the Temple of Shadows, she had been consolidating her new power constantly, and she was in complete control of it currently. Moreover, there were traces of a breakthrough from the cultivation in this period of time. However, this was far from enough. Jiang Xiaobai led Yu Qingtang around the Taiyuan Valley, and one spot caught Yu Qingtang's attention. This is the 1,000 Treasure Pavilion. The Taiyuan Valley juniors like us can come here to exchange for some treasures if we gain honor points, Jiang Xiaobai said with a grin as she glanced at Yu Qingtang. Yu Qingtang had been to a place like 1,000 Treasures Pavilion in Xianling sect and exchanged for many good items. However, Xianling sect in the First Mainland was incomparable to the domain monarch's Jiang family. Noticing that Yu Qingtang seemed to be interested in this place, Jiang Xiaobai entered the place with Yu Qingtang. The 1,000 Treasures Pavilion had a total of 7 floors. The higher the floor, the higher the grade of the treasures. Apart from weapons and elixirs, there were even battle pets. As long as one had sufficient honor points, any item could be exchanged in return. When Yi Qingtang walked into the Thousand Treasures Pavilion, two youths happened to be exchanging for an item. Is that the condensing ice glove? Yi Qingtang spotted a pair of ice blue gloves in one of the youth's hands in an instant. The glove had an extremely striking appearance and gave off a dazzling brilliance in the candlelight. Overall, it was presented in a translucent state as though it was made from glaciers. The condensing ice glove was an extremely precious weapon. When worn, a single punch could freeze rivers and oceans in an instant. Such an item could not even be seen in the first mainland and was rare even in the central mainland. Jiang Xiaobai seemed to not be interested in the condensing ice glove. Give me a bottle of Qi Yuan pills. Another youth told the person in charge with a smile. A look of surprise flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes the moment she heard that term. The Qi Yuan pill was a supreme grade pill that could assist one's cultivation. Not only could it increase cultivation speed, but it could also change one's body composition. Anyone with a poor constitution could refine it through consuming this pill. However, this Qi Yuan pill was truly precious, and only a handful of master-grade alchemists could refine this item. When Yi Qingtang was in the first mainland, she obtained plenty of master-grade and even grand master-grade elixirs. However, the alchemy grade in the first mainland was acutely miserable when compared to the central mainland. Even a Grand Master grade alchemist from the first mainland could only be considered as a middle grade alchemist at most in the central mainland. The youth obtained a bottle of Qi Yuan pills, which sounded a lot, but there was only one pill in the bottle. The Qi Yuan pill was extremely hard to source, and many family clans offered extravagant amounts of money just for one pill. Nonetheless, the pills refined by a master-grade alchemist were already scrambled for by the major forces, and anyone apart from the top forces simply could not obtain such a pill. The Temple of Shadows had plenty of elixirs and pills as well. However, those could only be used by the undead clan, and Yi Qingtang could only look at them. To increase her skills as quickly as possible, she had to start from gaining honor points. And honor points were obtained through contributions to the Jiang family. Yi Qingtang's eyes brightened when she heard that. After bidding goodbye to Jiang Xiaobai, she went to the elder's residence and looked for the domain monarch founder Jiang Yu directly. Are you getting used to the valley? Jiang Yu was seated in a chair right now. His tiny frame was seated behind a table, revealing only a small head, which, however, had a mature-looking face. Only the cabinet elders were aware of his return to the Taiyuan Valley, and no one else knew that he had already returned. After all, Jiang Yu truly did not want too many people to see his current, tiny, state. Thank you for your concern. All is well. Yi Qingtang replied respectfully. Chapter 1562 An obvious extortion. Jiang Yu nodded slightly. Yu Qiong glanced at Yi Qingtang but did not say anything. Anyway, he was staying here for free, and Jiang Yu usually just ignored him. What else do you want to say? Jiang Yu noticed that Yi Qingtang seemed to have something else on her mind. I have something that I want to ask you, Domain Monarch Founder, Yi Qingtang said obediently. What is that? Jiang Yu said. I heard from the other disciples in the Taiyuan Valley that we can get honor points from contributions to the Jiang family. Yi Qingtang said slowly. That's right. Jiang Yu nodded. The honor point system was a rule he set with the inner sect elders when he first became the domain monarch. It was used to motivate the young generation to work harder and always prioritize the family. What is considered as a contribution to the Jiang family? Yi Qingtang asked curiously. Anything that honors our family. For example, saving our family people, joining battles. You don't need to rush all these since you just entered here. When your ability improves and you make contributions, there will be honor points awarded, Jiang Yu said righteously. A smile flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes, but she still appeared to be very curious on her face. Save someone in the family? Jiang Yu nodded. Yi Qingtang smiled, then I can get the honor points now. Jiang Yu was slightly stunned, but Yu Qiong laughed secretly at the side. Now? Jiang Yu was confused. What did she do for her to get the honor points when she just entered the Taiyuan Valley? Who did you save? You. Yi Qingtang showed an innocent expression. Jiang Ye's expression darkened instantly. How could he forget about this? I happened to save you in the land of infinite demons, Domain Monarch Founder. I didn't expect that I could still get some honor points. Please prove that for me. Yi Qingtang smiled and said. Jiang Ye's expression darkened further when he heard that Yi Qingtang wanted to use this incident to exchange for honor points. Furthermore, he still needed to publicly vouch that she saved him. Yi Qingtang was the only one in the Jiang family who knew about how he was trapped in the land of infinite demons. No one else knew that his abilities were gone. He did not want others to know that the majestic Domain Monarch Founder in the past had become a child with no power. How would he dare to meet others in the future if everyone knew about that? Jiang Ye's serious and righteous expression was gone, and now he looked even grimmer. No. He refused directly. Why is that so? Yi Qingtang was confused. It appeared that she did not know Jiang Ye's concern here. Jiang Yu wanted to vomit blood, but he could not ruin his prestige in front of one of his descendants. He said with a steady and deep voice, things that happened at the land of infinite demons were of a big scale and related to the god. It will cause more trouble if others know about that. Furthermore, you have seen so many powerful figures in the appearance of a child. The influence will be bad for you as they do not want their prestige to be destroyed here. I'm not afraid of that. I just want the honor points to level up. This is also a way to appreciate the effort you spent to bring me into the Elder Cabinet. I believe that the powerful figures must be very generous in order for them to reach that stage. Yi Qingtang pretended to not understand the meaning behind Jiang Ye's words and instead praised him. Chapter 1563 An obvious extortion too. You're not scared, but I'm scared. Jiang Yu almost explained to Yi Qingtang that he cared about his prestige. However, after seeing how Yi Qingtang wanted to level up in order to bring honor to the family, the words choked in his throat. To be honest, it was undeniable that Yi Qingtang saved him. If not, he might still be trapped and waiting for death to come with the rest of the children in that forbidden place. However, if Yi Qingtang used this incident to gain honor points, he had to personally vouch for her. It was his decision to bring Yi Qingtang into the Elder Cabinet. He needed to be fair when rewarding Yi Qingtang with honor points. He had to tell the rest of the elders to prove that he was not siding with Yi Qingtang. However, this meant that Jiang Yu had to tell others that he was trapped in the forbidden place. He would never tell others about that. Jiang Yu coughed and said, though you have nothing to be bothered with, I need to be considerate for you. Since you are determined to level up, I will definitely support your decision. Okay, Jiang Yu thought for a while and continued. Don't mention saving me. Just say that you found a treasure in the forbidden place of the land of infinite demons. You handed that treasure over to me, which is equal to handing it over to the Jiang family. You can get honor points from that as well. Jiang Yu felt that it would be shameless if he did not give Yi Qingtang the honor points. However, his prestige would be ruined if he did so publicly to reward her for saving him. He then made up a perfect excuse. Yi Qingtang knew about Jiang Ye's concern. She would not even mention this matter if she did not wish to improve significantly in half a year's time. She totally agreed with Jiang Ye's excuse. I really appreciate your concern for me, Domain Monarch Founder. I will work harder to cultivate after I get the honor points. I will not disappoint you. Yi Qingtang understood when the right time to compromise was. Jiang Yu sighed in relief. He waved his hand to signal Yi Qingtang to wait outside and called over the few elders of the inner sect. He needed to confirm the honor points for Yi Qingtang and also to check Yi Qingtang's potential. Yi Qingtang left the room, but Yu Qiong showed a cunning expression. Jiang Yu felt that he could slap him any time now. Your descendant is really clever. Yu Qiong smiled and said. Jiang Yu frowned slightly but did not bother to reply to him. Soon, the two inner sect elders arrived. One of them was Elder Qian, who came back with Yi Qingtang the other day. Jiang Yu told them about how Yi Qingtang found a treasure in the land of infinite demons and how she handed it over to him. The two elders believed everything he said, and both agreed to give Yi Qingtang honor points as a reward. Jiang Yu understood that it was a big deal that Yi Qingtang saved him. She deserved a huge amount of honor points. Even though he made up an excuse, he did not want Yi Qingtang to lose out. He described how rare and significant the treasure was and decided to award Yi Qingtang with 10,000 honor points. I heard about Yi Qingtang from Elder Qian. She has the variant heavenly demon bloodline. However, she missed the right time of cultivation as she was wandering outside with another family. Since she's back now, we can observe her potential. If she's very talented, there's still a chance to catch up even though she wasted more than 10 years. Elder Kuan nodded in agreement after hearing that Jiang Yu wanted to check Yi Qingtang's potential. Chapter 1564 Potential 1 Elder Qian agreed. The little monster was brought to the Taiyuan Valley when he was 7 or 8 years old. Foundation time was wasted. However, he showed incredible talent after just spending 4 to 5 years' time here. No one in the entire Taiyuan Valley has better potential than him. If he had come back earlier, even Jiang Yenyun would not be able to fight him. If Yi Qingtang has the same amount of potential, it will be the best. With the mutant heavenly demon bloodline inside her, she will improve significantly within a short period of time. Jiang Yu had high expectations of Yi Qingtang. The mutant heavenly demon bloodline in her brought enough hope to the Jiang family. If she had not been outside for 10 years, she would already be very powerful under the family's nurturing. The three of them reached a compromise and called Yi Qingtang over. Yi Qingtang saw the two inner sect elders here and could roughly figure out what was going on. But she did not express it out loud. A special Dharma artifact was used to test one's talent. Jiang Yu and the rest led Yi Qingtang to the martial hall. Every newborn in the Jiang family would be brought to the martial halls in Jiang family to test their talent. The extremely talented ones would be brought away by the elder cabinet. It was entirely empty in the martial hall. There was a huge round platform at the center. The pure and transparent pearl floating on top of the platform could test anyone's potential. Elder Qian looked at Yi Qingtang and said, "Go up there." Yi Qingtang stepped onto the round platform. After Yi Qingtang stood straight, Elder Qian lifted his hand, and a string of spirit energy flew into the pearl. After the spirit energy entered the pearl, a ball of fog suddenly arose from the pearl. The fog spread out slowly, and light rays flew downwards and surrounded Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang could feel that she was surrounded by something warm. Under the platform, Jiang Yu and the two inner sect elders all stared at the light rays around Yi Qingtang, waiting for the test result. Though Yi Qingtang had not been in the family for more than 10 years, she had the mutant heavenly demon bloodline that the Jiang family valued the most at. As long as Yi Qingtang was talented enough, there would be another incredible genius soon. Back then, the person with the mutant heavenly demon bloodline was unbelievably powerful. The three of them were very clear about that. Another person with the variant heavenly demon bloodline now appeared in the Jiang family. How could they not be excited? The white light rays around Yi Qingtang sparkled were shining bright colors. As the color changed, the two inner sect elders were more cautious now. After a short while, the light rays around Yi Qingtang showed a pale red color. The color was really light. The expectation in Jiang Ye's eyes changed into strong disappointment. The red light represented one's talent level. The deeper the red color, the more talented the person was. The most powerful descendant in the Taiyuan Valley now, Jiang Yenyun, had blood-red light rays for the test. The light rays were pure red to purple when testing the little monster. Chapter 1565 Potential 2 Jiang Yu was not expecting Yi Qingtang's potential to be as high as the two of them. However, he sighed in disappointment when he saw the light red rays. Yi Qingtang's potential was considered outstanding in other normal families. It was not too bad in the Jiang family. However, when it came to the inner sect with countless geniuses, her talent was too mediocre, or even could be considered as very bad. If Yi Qingtang did not have the mutant heavenly demon bloodline, based on her talent, she could not even enter the elder cabinet. Though Jiang Yu was mentally prepared for it, he still could not help but sigh. Such a pity. Besides Jiang Yu, the other two inner sect elders also showed disappointment after seeing Yi Qingtang's test results. If she had better potential, she might still be able to catch up even after wasting more than 10 years outside. However, based on her potential now, she was not considered as hopeless, but she was definitely incomparable with the rest of the disciples in the Taiyuan Valley. Furthermore, Yi Qingtang had not been with the Jiang family for more than 10 years. She missed the best period of time for cultivation. The elders really felt that it was hopeless. It was incredibly rare for the family to have a person with the mutant heavenly demon bloodline. However, they did not expect it would turn out like such. Yi Qingtang did not know what the red light represented. She could guess the results from the looks of disappointment on Jiang Ye's and the elders' faces. She turned back and looked at the light red color surrounding her, but she was surprisingly calm. Her spirit root was taken away by Yi Yu, and the heart of the heavenly Tao in her was being suppressed by the divine phoenix. Yi Qingtang herself also could not tell what her potential was. How could her real potential be evaluated when she was chained up? Come and look for me later. Jiang Yu glanced at Yi Qingtang and showed a complex expression. Elder Qian and the other elder left with Jiang Yu. All of them were disappointed as one mutant heavenly demon bloodline was wasted. They really felt pity for her. However, her bloodline was there. Though she could not rely on her potential to reach a supreme level, she might have some achievements if she worked hard enough. It would be difficult for her to reach the highest stage. Yi Qingtang stared at the back view of the three people as they walked out. She was in deep thoughts as she stood on top of the round platform. The spirit energy from the pearl still remained, and so did the light rays around her. Therefore, she could not step down. After a short while, the light rays faded gradually. As Yi Qingtang lowered her head to contemplate, she did not notice the light rays changing suddenly as they converged back into the pearl. The light red color in the light suddenly seemed to be soaked by a deep red color. It was as red as fire. However, it only appeared for a second before the light returned back into the pearl. The change was not even noticed by Yi Qingtang herself, not mentioning Jiang Yu and the rest who left early. Yi Qingtang walked down the platform after the light rays disappeared. No matter what the test result was, nothing could affect her determination. She was under the death sentence in her previous life, but she cultivated until the holy venerate stage from pure determination. She was not that weak anymore in this life, and her cultivation speed was much faster than last time. She still believed in herself no matter what others said to discourage her. She believed that her life was in her own hands and never determined by fate. She would never give up any opportunity. Yi Qingtang had a plan in her heart as she stared at the 10,000 honor points in her hand. She would definitely join the martial arts championship held half a year from now. Yi Qingtang walked out of the martial hall and looked for Jiang Yu per his instructions. Chapter 1566 Skills. When Yi Qingtang arrived at Jiang Ye's study room, Jiang Yu was frowning. Jiang Yu looked at Yi Qingtang in a complicated way. One of the reasons why he gave Yi Qingtang honor points was due to the mutant heavenly demon bloodline in her. She came to the Taiyuan Valley really late. The honor points served as a capital for her to build her foundation. It was good news to the Jiang family that Yi Qingtang had the mutant heavenly demon bloodline. He did not want to miss it. However, he felt pity for her as he thought about the talent test results. You were outside for many years, and since you're back to the Jiang family now, you need to learn from the basics. Jiang Yu pulled back from his thoughts and said, there are many skills in the Jiang family, but all of them are derived from the same basics. No matter how to cultivate our heavenly demon bloodline, we still need some foundations. Today, I'm going to teach you a few sets of skills. Jiang Yu stared at Yi Qingtang seriously. No matter how talented Yi Qingtang was, she still belonged to the Jiang family. Even if she could not reach the peak, she still deserved to learn the skills. Yes. Yi Qingtang was also very serious. She had acquired the mutant heavenly demon bloodline for quite some time, but she still did not know how to control it. Jiang Yu was satisfied with Yi Qingtang's serious expression. There are many skills in the world. The Jiang family uses 4 skills as the foundation: finger technique, movement technique, swordplay technique, and palm technique. Only when you master these 4 sets of techniques will you be able to actually utilize your bloodline. Come over. Jiang Yu nodded his head at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang took a step forward. Jiang Yu folded his hands at his back and took a glimpse at Yi Qingtang. He then stretched out one hand and pointed out one finger. The Jiang family's finger techniques are separated into 2 classes. The first one is for normal family members, and the second one is for those whose bloodlines are awakened. Today, I'm going to teach you the second type. Watch closely. Yi Qingtang nodded. Jiang Ye's face was expressionless. He just stared at Yi Qingtang calmly. He took a step forward and slowly pointed towards Yi Qingtang's glabella with his finger. The speed of this movement was extremely slow. Yi Qingtang focused on his finger and could see clearly how Jiang Ye's fingertip slowly approached her glabella. Time seemed to slow down at that moment. Yi Qingtang could only see the finger, which was about 1 meter away from her, gradually approaching. She could suddenly feel a strong and intense force surrounding her body as the finger got closer to her. It seemed that there were force waves spreading out from the finger. The movement was so slow, but Yi Qingtang felt that her body was tensed under that force. It was getting extremely difficult to even move her own finger. Jiang Ye's finger was an arm's distance away from Yi Qingtang's glabella, but she could feel the pain at her glabella clearly. Her whole body was soaked in cold sweat. It seemed that there was an invisible fiend cage in front of her about to swallow her. Jiang Yu suddenly withdrew his hand. The force surrounding Yi Qingtang disappeared. However, Yi Qingtang could still feel the pressure and pain. Chapter 1567 Skills 2 Jiang Ye's ability was almost all gone now. His finger movement just now was a pure technique without any power. However, Yi Qingtang could feel the pressure from the finger. How is it? Jiang Yu looked at Yi Qingtang's pale face and asked. Domain Monarch Founder, your finger technique is indeed strong. Yi Qingtang replied sincerely. She did not suspect at all that if his finger touched her glabella, her head would explode under the pressure. All the skills of the Jiang family consist of 3 levels. After you get used to it, you can attain initial success and then phenomenal success. The last is perfected success. If you want to master more than one skill, you need a long time to train and practice. A skill that appeared to be mediocre was actually more difficult to master. If one could master such a skill, there would definitely be incredible effects. Jiang Yu told Yi Qingtang the foundations of the finger technique one by one. Yi Qingtang listened carefully and remembered them all. There were countless skills in the world, but they were all derived from palm, finger, or leg techniques. The 4 sets of techniques that Jiang Yu mentioned were extremely important. Now, I'll teach you the movement technique. Jiang Yu looked at Yi Qingtang and said. After witnessing how powerful Jiang Yu's finger technique was, Yi Qingtang paid 120% attention. Jiang Yu's finger technique must already be in the realm of perfected success. Though he lost all his cultivation, the power of the skill was still strong. Jiang Yu nodded as he saw the serious sight from Yi Qingtang. Jiang Yu folded his hands by his back again. His tiny body remained stationary. Just as Yi Qingtang began wondering what was so special about Jiang family's movement technique, Jiang Yu suddenly took a step. This step was very slow. He lifted up his foot slowly and put down at an even slower speed. The moment he lifted up his foot, he was surrounded by an intense and powerful aura. And the moment his foot landed, a gust of wind spread out from his foot. A virtual golden dragon suddenly surrounded Jiang Yu. Yi Qingtang could feel the breath of the dragon dashing towards her face. Her hair and sleeves were swinging in the wind. This is known as the dragon steps. Jiang Yu only took one step and withdrew all the aura. The golden dragon dispersed, but the air in the surroundings was still filled with pressure. Based on Jiang Yu's dragon step standards, the house might collapse if he took a few more steps. Given that he did not use any spirit energy. Yi Qingtang watched carefully and was shocked. The step looked normal, but it seemed that it could crush the world. She could not even imagine the power of the dragon step if Jiang Yu used it at his prime. Yi Qingtang watched and learned carefully. Jiang Yu was satisfied. No matter how talented she was, there was still hope to improve if she was willing to learn. After that, Jiang Yu showcased the swordplay and palm techniques one by one and corrected Yi Qingtang patiently. Yi Qingtang remembered Jiang Yu's every word and did not dare slack off. The foundation skills looked easy, but it would take a long time to master. Any mistake along the way would ruin everything. There was no easy way out. As Jiang Yu was teaching Yi Qingtang the 4 sets of skills, a special guest appeared at the Taiyuan Valley. Chapter 1568. Oh my! One elder Qian and elder Kun left the martial hall and headed straight to the public square to check if their disciples were working hard on their cultivation. Many Jiang family youths in the public square were drenched with sweat as they cultivated diligently. The remaining elders were supervising their cultivation and nodded to greet elder Qian and elder Kun. However, at this instant, a gust of wind rushed into the entrance of Taiyuan Valley. Everyone looked in that direction immediately and saw a lady in red whizzing in like a ball of fire. The elders' expressions darkened immediately. That lady landed on the ground slowly. She was an extremely gorgeous lady whose face had a combination of wildness, allure, and arrogance. Her red clothes swayed in the wind like a blazing flame and hugged her graceful figure. "How do I address you, miss? What are you here at the Taiyuan Valley for?" Elder Qian stood forward and asked the gorgeous lady. The lady squinted her eyes slightly. Her slightly lifted chin exuded a hint of arrogance while her furrowed brows seemed to be laced with impatience and anxiety. Her eyes scanned past everyone in the square before she subsequently asked. "Does this place belong to the domain monarch Jiang family?" The lattice voice was filled with impatience. "Yes," Elder Qin said. "That's right then." The lady nodded and said with arched brows. "Where is the wife of your domain monarch founder?" Everyone was stunned by what she said as they did not know where this lady came from or what she wanted. However, Elder Qian's face darkened after he heard her. "Miss, our domain monarch founder's wife has already passed 10,000 years ago. What exactly is this lady here for?" The lady was not at all surprised by the reply and merely raised her brows slightly. "Did your domain monarch founder remarry afterward then?" The latter's impolite tone caused the elder's expression to blacken, and they began to speak in a dissatisfied tone as well. The domain monarch founder loves his wife very deeply and did not remarry after she died. That's good then. The lady seemed to be completely ignorant of the displeasure in the elder's tone. She looked around her surroundings and said subsequently, I heard that your domain monarch founder has returned to the Jiang family and has come to this Taiyuan valley. Go and call him out for me. The elders were angered by the latter's arrogant words. The Jiang family youths were still unaware of the domain monarch founder's return and were extremely shocked to hear the news. It must be known that to these Jiang family youths, the domain monarch founder was an extremely mighty presence and was a powerful figure in their hearts. He was someone who many people respected deeply. Now that they knew that the domain monarch founder had returned, they were extremely furious to see a lady who was so rude to him. Who is she? How dare she tell our domain monarch founder to come out and meet her? Where did this crazy woman come from? Just chase her away quickly. The elders' expressions were nowhere better either. They only treated her courteously because they saw that she came here alone and that she was a lady. Yet, she turned out to be incredibly arrogant and irreverent. What exactly are you here for? The domain monarch founder of the Jiang family is not someone you can meet just because you want to. I advise you to leave immediately. Otherwise, I can only chase you out using force. Elder Kun scoffed coldly, you're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.